Austin. That's a lot to ask of anyone, even an accomplished seasoned broadcaster like yourself. Ebo laughed at that. I meant that genuinely. But I said, you want to talk about the Derby? We can preview the All-Star game a little bit tonight as well. Did you please tell me you watched the Derby or at least some of it?
Of course.
Okay. Or lie. I don't care which one.
Who watched?
I watched most of it and I was underwhelmed's the wrong word. I guess I was just hoping that it would move something in me. I guess I was hoping that like I would feel like, oh, I'm excited to talk about that tomorrow, but I don't know that it really gave us anything.
Yeah, Jazz hit 3 home runs. That was kind of funny.
I'm anti-Jazz Chisholm.
That was more entertaining on the bad side of the thing. The whole thing with like Raleigh hit 1.2 centimeters farther than Rooker to advance. That was a little annoying. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like they made that up on the spot.
Yeah, like did you see how many numbers were in those decimal points?
No
they
kidding.
had like 12 numbers after the decimal point. So you're telling me
was that inches? How were they measuring?
It was feet, but then like 12 decimals. They're at millimeters of millimeters at that point.
I would just like to say that I do not for a second buy into the home run distance projections at all. At all. Whether it's in the Derby or whether it's in the game. Like, I don't understand how a Brewers player can hit one off the scoreboard 30 feet above the wall. And then they're like, I went 424. And then all the announcers are like, I don't know about that. Like, how can we not get that right? I don't understand. So I don't buy into the distance projections, which has me feeling very skeptical. I feel like they just threw a bunch of numbers on the screen and said,
they really might have.
We'll just advance the big
dumper. I really
dumper.
wouldn't be surprised.
And like, even if that's exactly what they did, am I mad about it? I don't think so. It's the home run.
Really.
It's the home run derby. It's hardly the most important thing in the world. We will talk about the home run derby. Austin's going to be here for the first hour or two. We're going to talk baseball. Chuck Freeman's going to be here in about 90 minutes. We'll talk Brewers more specifically with him. He's a Tuesday guest, the Locked On Brewers podcast. Later on in the show, in the 12 o'clock hour, Justin Garcia is going to join us. My friend from the Bucks Radio Network, to talk about specifically Miles Turner's introductory press conference. I don't know what I expected from that press conference. We listened to a little bit of it during the show yesterday. And again, without really knowing what I was expecting, I was surprised by some of the things that he said. It's like, well, why Milwaukee over Indiana? Well, I just love their roster. Like, really? You like Gary Trent and Taurean Prince? And like, I think the Bucks roster is fine considering the circumstances. But Miles Turner doesn't have to consider the circumstances. He was a free agent. He could have gone wherever he wanted, including going back to Indiana, even if it seems maybe they lowballed him at first. So we'll talk about that with Justin at 12:30, Chuck Freeman an hour at 11:35. Austin, I guess I want to talk about the Derby with you. There might not be a whole lot to say. You're a Cubs guy, a knower of baseball, so I want to talk about the NL Central with you as well. It seems like the day after the three-point shooting contest or the dunk contest or the All-Star game, all of sports talk, just they fire up the microphones, they fire up the podcasts, and it's like, that sucked. It used to be way better. How do we fix it? And I'm just kind of tired of that cycle. Yeah, and I think the home run derby used to be better, but I think that's because I was younger. You know what I mean? Like,
really, that might be a part of it, to be honest.
Video games were so much better when I was 10 years old. It's like, yeah, that's because you were 10. I think when you were playing them, like, it's not like Mario Super Sluggers is better than MLB The Show. It's that you were in elementary school, and the biggest concern you had was like, does mom have enough batteries? So when me and my friends, dejuice these controllers, like, are we gonna be able to keep going?
Or make sure you have the wristband on the Wii remote.
Oh,
you don't throw it into the TV.
Did you ever play Mario Super Sluggers?
Of course I did.
It wasn't.
The Piranha Plant. Oh my, hit tanks.
It was
if anyone knows. The Piranha Plant is the GOAT at that game.
It was an excellent game. And look, I see highlights. Everyone posted the clips last night of like when Hamilton won it, and Berman's announcing. And I'm like,
I will say, the out format is better than the timed format.
You think so?
I agree. I think the timed format it becomes an endurance festival of who's like, I don't know. It's always someone. I don't know. So someone always seems gassed, but they're always gassed by the end. Like the first round is the most exciting usually
because they're
first or second, and
they're not exhausted.
In the finals, they just get gassed.
Yeah,
like Caminero in the second round, he won 8 homers because Buxton hit 7.
And then what was it? Cal Raleigh at 19, and O'Neal Cruz had to try to time in the final round.
Yeah, no one had a crazy round. Like we've seen rounds last couple of years that have gone to like 28, 29.
Right.
The record was 21 last night. It's not too exciting.
Did you have an opinion? You know, I think the biggest item that was being discussed on Twitter last night during the event, did you see? People were not a fan of Pat McAfee's work on the broadcast. I know you and Ebo and Kate were listening to a little bit of that interview question that he got.
Yeah. I don't know how he found his way into baseball at this point. Like,
is it wrong?
Seems to just be doing everything.
I'd rather have Tim Kirchin down there with a pocket protector and a clipboard.
Yeah.
Here is, by the way, here you go. Here's a little of Pat McAfee. This is him and I believe Ty Schmidt from his show.
Packers fan, by the way.
Yeah, the Packers guy talking of or introing Cal Raleigh. Here's a little taste of that.
The Seattle Mariners, hailing from Colorado, North Carolina. A man who's doing something that no catcher has ever done in the history of the sport, with the fattest ass in all of professional sports, and leading the big leagues with 38 homers so far. Ladies and gentlemen, Big Dumper Cal Raleigh.
Is it wrong, Austin Harper, for me to think that there should be a certain decorum to baseball? Am I wrong? Am I old fashioned? Am I wanting for something that isn't there anymore? Like football, burly sport. Basketball, you can be a little silly, you can be a little hip hop, you can be a little baseball. Man, put some sleeves on. Is that wrong? Am I an old man for that? Probably.
Fair. I mean, it goes both ways. There's got to be some adaptations. There's got to be some leeway with the new generation of what they do.
I'm so tired of trying to grow the game. At what point do we stop trying to grow the game? Well, we're trying to grow the game with Pat McAfee, though. I don't know.
Yeah, McAfee probably wasn't the answer. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think he's ever talked about baseball before, and then just shows up, and now he gets a top spot announcing the Derby.
Well, and here's another thing: like ESPN, these top talents make so much money. Like they're paying Stephen A. so much.
ESPN's done with baseball theoretically after this year.
Yeah,
I think I saw they picked up talks again, but as of right now, ESPN's done with baseball after this year.
They pay.
Maybe that'd be good for us.
Maybe they pay so much money for Stephen A. Smith, so they feel like, well, we got to get our money's worth. We got to put him on everything, right? Pay so much money for Pat McAfee, so we got to, we got to use him. We got to put him on as many different things as possible. Where I think, like, where Stephen A. Smith is great on First Take. Like that's why he's great. That's why we like him. Or Pat McAfee on his show with, his 4 or 5 buddies, being kind of knuckleheadish. Like, as soon as you start pulling those guys and throwing them elsewhere, like
let's say Over the Line, I would say is a little knuckleheadish with Ebo and everything.
Okay.
Put Ebo's not gonna go announce the home run derby. Like I love Ebo, but like he'd be a little obnoxious too. I feel like announcing the home run derby.
I think maybe that's a good angle. Kate could probably do it. Kate would probably actually do a great job. That's kind of like directly up her alley. So last night, Cal Raleigh. Did you have a rooting interest? Did you have any bets?
Well, on MLB The Show, you had to there was like prediction vouchers to pick.
Okay.
And then you unlock good packs if they win or whatever. I picked James Wood. But I did win on the longest home run. I did pick on O'Neal Cruz, and he launched a ball.
I'm surprised he didn't kill one of those ball boys.
Austin Vision says 530 feet.
Austin Vision? What did they have it on the broadcast? Like 518? Okay.
Speaking of your belief that the StatCast is wrong in every home run projection. Yeah. Austin Vision had that at 5:30.
I don't. Well, and that sounds better than whatever StatCast. Did you see they had the StatCast broadcast?
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what they had on there because the main broadcast had launch angle and distance. Like they were hitting you over the head with some of these stats. And I like that stuff. I like getting in the weeds on some of that stuff in baseball. I think in the home run derby, I just want to see a bunch of dudes smoke baseballs.
Just hit some nukes.
And then, have Chris Berman go back. Although you share those clips. Oh, it used to be so much better. I don't know. Was it that much better? Or, maybe our lives were just better. We were more excited about things 10 years ago.
The derby's made by like people remember the big moments. And when there's not like a huge moment when a guy like nobody hit over 21, nobody long. I mean, Cruz probably got the highlight of the night by hitting the ball 500 feet, and that's like the moment per se.
Dude's terrifying.
Yeah, he hits the ball hard.
Yeah.
He hits the ball very hard.
Oh my God.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I guess it's not, I don't think it's name value. Like Raleigh's the top MVP candidate right
if
now.
If Shohei and Aaron Judge would have been in it.
Yeah, like you need the top of the top guys.
Yeah.
To make it that interesting again, I would say.
I'd watch. I would have, and I watched almost all of it. I recorded an episode of Pack a Day last night, so I had it on the second screen. But I watched I'd say 80% of it. If Judge and Ohtani are going back and forth, like I think a lot more people are leaned into that.
Yeah, I agree with that. But that's not going to happen.
They do better than basketball does. Like,
yeah, at least we have names in the Derby, whereas the dunk contest, they bring up Mac McClung from the G League every year.
Yeah, it would be like Eric Thames is the star of the home run derby.
Like,
Okay, so you don't have Ohtani and Judge, but you're doing better than maybe some other leagues do with their secondary and tertiary all-star events. Okay, so there's that. The All-Star game tonight. Expectations, specific things you're interested in, specific things you're excited to see.
Well, obviously, as a Cubs fan, I'm excited to see Tucker and PCA.
And you're upset that PCA is hitting 9th.
Yeah, Dave Roberts has a grip against him. He put Ohtani 1, PCA 9. He's trying to decide the MVP race himself. Doesn't happen.
Well, PCA is basically
yard.
He's basically like a second leadoff hitter. That is an important spot, Austin.
Yeah,
Ohtani hitting leadoff is such a whatever.
Yeah,
I shouldn't be mad about it.
I hope PCA makes a sick catch. That'd be kind of fun. I am excited to see the Miz pitch, contrary to what popular belief may be. I'm not going to lose sleep over him making the All-Star game. Do I think he should have? Maybe not. But I saw a report they asked like 12 pitchers before that. So
seriously.
Maybe he was their last. Maybe he was really the last option.
Well, that's the thing. Like you can be frustrated, and then you're like, wait, they asked how many people they turned it down?
So, and he's gonna pitch an inning. Sounds like so that'll be fun. I hope they do a segment on Baez and PCA. Because they were traded for each other.
Isn't that something?
In 2021, and now 4 years later, they're counterparts and starting the All-Star game.
They're contemporaries starting opposite each other.
Yeah,
at their own positions. I need Mizorowski to pitch very well tonight.
Yeah, that would be good for your narrative for sure.
I don't even know if it's good for my narrative as much as it wouldn't make narratives worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like these All-Star weeks. And the NBA All-Star Week is very similar, Austin. You've worked in sports media now for a couple of years. You know how it is. Like, we need a narrative from tonight. Like, we need something.
Yeah, we need something to happen.
Something. Let me actually change my wordage. We don't need anything. There will be a narrative coming out of tonight's game. Whether it's a reasonable, there will be a topic.
There's going to be some big topic that we come in tomorrow.
Exactly.
And,
something has to hit Cowherd's scroll tomorrow. Like, there has to be something. And if Mizorowski gets shelled, assuming no other insane things happen, like that'll play.
Be it.
The guy who threw 5 times, he had 5 outings, gets to the All-Star game through much controversy and is absolutely lit up. Like, I can't have that. I also tweeted this the other day, but I hope he had somebody in his camp or with his representation check his entire Twitter just to make sure it's clean. Because I don't need to relive. Was that 2019 when that happened to Hader? I don't need to relive that. I don't need to go back and experience that again. And Mizorowski definitely doesn't want to. So I'm excited for that. McGill is actually
McGill getting an inning.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think he's a guy who probably deserves to be there as an alternate for Freddie. Makes sense for a team that's been as good as the Brewers have been the last 2 months to have another arm. McGill's quite a story. I mean, he was in your Cubs organization. He was with the Twins. He was with the Dodgers for a stint. Like this is kind of why baseball is cool. And this is why you don't pay relievers. Like this is why you don't go out and, give, who's the reliever the Cubs brought in last year? Hector Neris.
Yeah.
This is why you don't give a pile of money to a guy like Hector Neris.
Yeah.
Is because if you know what you're doing, you can take Trevor McGill, who's been on 4 or 5 different teams, and make it work. Right. So I'm, sneaky. I know he's not the headliner with Miz there. I'm sneaky kind of happy for Trevor McGill. And I actually want to look up his career path here because I can't remember off the dome exactly how many teams he's been on. Let's see here by year. Chicago, Minnesota, Milwaukee. He was with the Dodgers system, but never at the major league level. Pretty cool story. So the Cubs have PCA. They have Kyle Tucker. Kyle Busch, not Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch, the driver,
Kyle
the NASCAR driver.
Kyle Busch. Michael Busch.
M&M car.
Michael Busch should have a case over Freddie Freeman.
Agreed.
He's had an outstanding season. You
Yeah,
gotta
Busch
draw the
and-
line somewhere. Like
Yeah.
obviously you can't say that every player on your team should be an all-star, but give me the Michael Busch.
Michael Busch should be an all-star. Seiya Suzuki should be an all-star. But that's okay. We don't need that. And also, we're saying that the Cubs have, we'll get in this later with the NL Central talk. We'll go
Yeah.
Cubs Brewers. But the Cubs are like, they have a case for 7 all-stars, and the Brewers have 3, and they're like a game back still.
Yeah,
Something.
it's just it's a different
Just-
brand of baseball.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
And when everyone on your team hits dongs, like they should be all-stars. And the Brewers have like, I don't know, like who's hitting dongs? Churio and Yelich. Yelich, he had a really nice one on Sunday. He hit a missile on Sunday. I was driving home on I think it was Friday night from the gym, and the Brewers were rallying in like the 7th or the 8th. They had runners on. They had like 4 or 5 guys straight who had reached in this inning. And I'm listening to this Yelich AB in the car. And I don't know if it was Levering or Grindle, whoever goes, and Yelich squares and he takes ball 1. And I go, are you kidding me? Like the fact that he was going to drop a bunt down in this scenario just triggered me. And then he, crushed one out of the park. And he did that on Sunday as well. So they get some power from Yelich. I'm almost a little surprised that Yelich isn't an all-star. His stats are a little bit down relative to last year, but I feel like with that name recognition, he is one of the bigger faces.
Yeah, and there also wasn't any reserves really announced in the National League position player field. No one really backed out.
Yeah,
at
I
all.
suppose.
So they just got who in, and yeah, Yelich since he started batting, since he started the year, it was right when I first did the show with you, when the first week I was back this week, or this summer, Yelich was batting like 180. And you asked me like what I thought about it. And I said there had to have been something like with his swing adjustment from the back surgery.
Yeah.
So I never said he sucked, and bang.
I did.
Yeah, you did. I do remember that. I didn't jump off that Yelich train. I said the best version of the Brewers, obviously, is superstar Yelich.
Yeah.
Well, and we have found that the last 2 months, haven't you?
They've had to find it because
Yeah.
Contreras hasn't been able to do a whole lot because of that broken finger. And Churio has been good, not great. I think he could be setting up for a monster second half of the season. So maybe we can talk about that next. The Brewers, my Brewers, and your Cubs, Austin, are separated by 1 game. We can discuss that a little bit on the other side of this break. You texted me something. You tweeted a phrase the other day that I want you to explain. I want you to elaborate. So we'll get to that next. It's the Bill Michaels Show. My name is Grant Bilson for Bill. Austin's going to be here for the first hour and a half talking some baseball, and we'll take your calls as well. Chuck Freimund, Justin Garcia on the way. So a loaded show. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Representing the Washington Nationals, from Rockville, Maryland, a man who has thunder in his hands.
He has 24 homers on the season, and he has so much damn power, he's gonna hit bombs to left field,
Wide,
right field,
wide,
and center field.
wide. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for James Wood.
It's a little bit more from Pat McAfee last night. Had the internet reacting strongly. Not for me, but that's fine. Austin Harper is here as well. Austin, not everything is for everybody. Just because Pat McAfee's not your bag of chips. And he might be your bag of chips. I'm talking to you, the audience. He might be your bag of chips. That's cool. This does continue a little bit of a trend with ESPN where it's like, okay, so we're paying Stephen A. or we're paying, Pat McAfee a bajillion dollars this year. We got to use him. We gotta get our money's worth. So let's have him, introduce guys at the Derby. To strong reaction among baseball fans on the internet last night. So if you have any takes on the Derby or tonight's All-Star game, love to take your calls. 608-321-1670. Austin, I specifically want to talk Brewers, Cubs, and NL Central with you. It was not that long ago that the Cubs were leading this division by 6.5. I believe that was
probably the high.
That was their high watermark.
Yeah.
Now it's a game. As we go into the All-Star break, you sent me a tweet the other night, and I want you to explain this. You said you made reference to the Brewers' devil magic, which I actually think is, if you are convinced another team has devil magic, that's actually a great compliment to that team because Brewers fans, we've said that about the Cardinals forever, and now I'm hearing it about my team, so expand,
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying the way the Brewers organization pulls rabbits out of the hat to get producing players at the major league.
Pulling rabbits or develop
Andrew Vaughn, what is he doing right now?
That is pretty funny. They traded him for Aaron Savali,
who demanded a trade, demanded out.
He's been awful in Chicago.
Which means, his trade value was decreased after he demanded out. Probably, and all of a sudden, you get a guy who's won you 3 games the last week. Pretty much.
Yeah.
He won the series against the Dodgers for you.
Yeah. And he hit a game-tying double against the Nationals in the bottom of the ninth. By the way, if you're like, I wonder what Aaron Savali's up to. His last 3 starts, or let's just look at the month of July. 14 innings pitched, 15 hits, 14 runs, 3 homers.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cats. 7 strikeouts, 6 walks. I was talking to a Brewers person when this trade went down, and he said very respectfully, like, I don't think nothing personal against Aaron Savali. Nobody had anything personal against him. But he said, like, I think this could end up hurting Aaron Savali because going to start, not just going to start for the White Sox, but had Aaron Savali just taken a somewhat limited role in the Brewers bullpen, continued to recover from that injury, he hits free agency as a guy everybody knows he can start. You know what I mean? He started before. So I think people would sign Aaron Savali like, all right, yeah, back of the rotation type guy. Now, I mean, he's had a terrible last month, and that's who the Brewers send out to get Andrew Vaughn, who's been like what we've wanted Rhys Hoskins to be for the better part of 2 years, the better part of 1.5 years, and he just hasn't been able to do it. So you think Andrew Vaughn is devil magic? Andrew
Vaughn is devil magic. Just the way you were down in the ninth two times this week and won both games, I think.
I believe you were correct.
So to go on a 7-game win streak before the break, it's just, I mean, since your low point, whenever you guys were I saw the record. It was 21-25, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Something since then, since that low point, you are on 120 win pace.
Mm-hmm.
The Brewers are on 120 win pace.
Do you know how nice it is to be
happening?
Do you know in the regular season how nice it is to be a Brewers fan in this era, Austin?
Summer are fun.
Things just kind of work out for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
We lose our manager, we lose our legendary announcer, we lose our shortstop, heart and soul of the team. Give it a month. We just need to get Caleb Durbin up here and get him up to speed. Yeah, Derbs. That guy. Just need a couple weeks to warm up.
Yeah, that guy who was him and Ortiz. Ortiz had a little stretch, but
I want a reason from you the Cubs will still win this division and a reason they will lose this division. But first, we're going to take a quick call. So you stew on that. I'm going to come back to you. 608-321-1670. It's the Bill Michaels Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant, Clemhead.
Clemhead Mike up in Chippewa Falls. How are you this morning, Mike?
Oh, good. You're I hate to say this, I don't want to sound insulting. You look a little rough right now.
Well, appreciate it.
Hope you're feeling better.
This building is so damn big when you hobble around with crutches. I told Ebo, I'm not leaving.
Get longer.
The hallways get longer. Everything's farther away. So yeah, that's been my day so far. I appreciate it though. Thank you for the compliment.
We need an update.
Did you take the elevator?
Yes, I did take the elevator. I have multiple. The amount is not clear because there was too much swelling to get a clear X-ray, but there are multiple fractures in my foot. Not my ankle. My ankle seems to be fine. It's the foot, I guess.
Oh, that's too bad. I'm sorry to hear that, Grant.
I know. They say I only have weeks to live, so spend these last couple weeks talking baseball with Austin.
Yeah. I had a rough day yesterday too, Grant.
What happened?
I went to confession.
Okay.
And the priest asked me, we talked for a while, and he says, how do I view lesbian relationships?
You asked this to the man of the cloth?
He asked me how I view lesbian relationships. I said, usually in 4K HD. Apparently that wasn't the answer he was looking for. Yeah, I'm in a bad place right now.
You up on the big screen TV as soon as Bill's show's done? Yeah, that's what you throw on the big screen in the living room?
No. Yeah.
Not quite.
Just kidding. My wife might listen later.
So. We'll make that clear. Gotcha.
I just wanted to see how you're doing and worried about you. So
no, I'm doing good as long as I don't have to travel far distances or walk anywhere. Sitting down, I'm very comfortable right now. But walking from one to throw something away, for example, Austin, if I have to walk to the other side of the room, what an absolute drag. So we don't need to dwell on my physical well-being today.
I mean, you can. I don't know if this will make you feel better or not, but
I'm sure it is. Go ahead.
My stepmom broke her foot falling down the stairs last month, and she's a server, so couldn't go to work. She's been off work the last month. So at least you're still able to show up to your beautiful place of work.
And I do love my job,
of course,
and I do love my coworkers. In fact, I came in here a couple weeks ago, and I referred to all of you as hello to my work family. I believe you were in here for that. It wasn't just Kate and Ebo. Okay, what was I going to come to you with? Yes, of course. A reason that the Brewers will win the division and lose the division. And in fact, now that I check the time, let's take a break and we will come back on the other side. I want a reason as a Cubs fan for optimism and a reason why you are scared that the Brewers are going to run the Cubs down. Can we discuss that on the other side?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yes, sir. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Dig a little bit more into the state of the NL Central here at the All-Star break.
Ready?
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
With the way the team up north, with the way they're playing, they've won 29 of their last 41 games.
Jeez, man.
You don't have room for error, and they're pushing you. I understand the easy thing to do is to say, Sam, they just won five out of 6. It's just 2 games. It's not just 2 games when your opponent never loses.
Right, and it's amplified because that team has also won in bunches for the last 6-7 years.
Yep, exactly. And I'm so tired of, they just get lucky. It's like, you know what? If they've been lucky for 7 years, maybe they should go get a scratch off or something. Or maybe they should have a 50-50 raffle. Or Whatever.
Wait, they're the only team that luck is involved.
They just play a different brand of baseball that the metrics haven't caught up to yet. It's not about exit velocity. It's not about launch angle. They just play differently. And so because we don't have the numbers on that yet, we just say it's luck. Well, hopefully we get lucky in the game against the Twins on Thursday because we need a win.
So that's from last week. Those are your contemporaries, Austin Harper. That's the Locked On Cubs podcast. Correct. Sam Olber and Matt. Crap. What is it again?
Matt Cozy.
Matt Cozy. I always want to say Kosuke Fukudome, something like that.
That was the reaction after the second loss against the Twins, a game that I was at.
Oh, that was the game you were at.
The game lasted under 2.5 hours.
Which is, the worst of everything.
And the Cubs lost 4-2.
Your team loses, and there's not a lot of action.
I was not in the ballpark for 3 hours.
Oh,
we were at the bar before, and then walked in around game time, and I was not in the ballpark for more than 3 hours.
Well, first, your reaction to the idea that the Brewers just play a certain brand of baseball that the stats haven't caught up to yet. Do you have a take on that?
I don't know if it's a sense that the stats don't all up to it. There's more stats than anything in baseball.
I agree. I don't know that that's the part of that I glom onto.
The brand of baseball that they do play and the organization that the Brewers run, you got to respect it. Like, I respect the Brewers as an organization. I view them as their American League counterpart, the Rays.
Yeah.
They never seem to have the best team on paper, but they always just find a way. And right now, they're finding more than a way. They've been the best team in baseball the last month and a half.
Big part of it is they've been able to develop their own pitching, whether it be starters, relievers.
Yes.
They have a ton of depth. And I love what they've done a couple of times in the last few years where they have the rotation that you feel pretty good about a lot of homegrown guys. And then it's like, and let's go spend a couple million to bring in Wade Miley or Quintana this year as insurance. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or like, we'll bring in Nestor Cortez too. I just love the way that they've kind of put together a staff. They've given themselves some breathing room, which they needed early on in the year. And now they have this surplus, which gives them flexibility to make some deals. I don't know the appetite that other teams will have. It's like, all right, we'll take Quintana and we'll give you, this impact bat. I don't know that trade is. I don't know that trade is at the top of anybody's list.
Yeah.
But you do have a surplus of starting pitching depth.
It would have to be a younger guy for that to happen.
Or you'd have to include a younger player or a prospect.
Like a Patrick or a Henderson or something.
Yeah, something.
You have
something
the
like
arms to trade. If
a lot of arms.
Yeah.
Whether they're veteran arms or younger arms with club control for sure. I also think a big part, putting the pitching to aside, I think big part of the success for the Brewers over the last 2 months, they've really started to emphasize swing decisions. And you can see that even with the players they drafted. Don't swing at balls that aren't strikes. You know what I mean? Make pitchers work. Take your walks. Don't go up there and flail, where the Cubs have some players that'll go up and flail. PCA will swing at anything.
Yes.
Right. Seiya.
He has the highest chase percentage in baseball.
He does. Seiya is, I don't want to say a guess hitter. He's going up there and he's hacking. Right.
There's some moments where Seiya, he looks like he has no idea what's going on. That's happened a lot less this year because he's been absolutely killing it. But yeah, there's some plate appearances where Seiya just goes up there and it looks like he has no idea what's coming.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But
it's the approach.
But if you see 4 pitches, you guess on all 4, you miss 3 of them, but then the 4th one you guess right and you connect and you hit it out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's just not really the strategy that the Brewers employ. It's swing decision, speed, pitching, defense.
Yeah.
It's a different brand of baseball.
Yeah. Murphy sat Ortiz for 2 days last week after he hit a grand slam because of swing decision. Like, he's clearly not, he's not afraid to pull the plug and emphasize the brand of baseball the Brewers want to play.
A little bit of a different approach than most managers. In fact, Ken Rosenthal did a piece last week for Foul Territory, that podcast, that show that he does, where he's like, yeah, managers don't, they don't discipline. They don't publicly hold their players accountable anymore. And I'm like, hey, man, he just talked about wanting to tase Joey Ortiz in the press conference. Like, it does happen. It's rare, but mostly players, managers in 2025. Murph is a little bit of a throwback. So you are a Cubs fan. The lead is now 1 for your team in the division. I want you to give me a reason you think the Cubs will be fine and they will still win the division, and then a reason why maybe you could see it going the other way. You can do it in either order you'd like.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll be honest. I'm going to have more optimism for the Cubs winning the division than negativity.
That's fine.
I've stood on the fact all year that the Cubs are going to win the division, so I'm going to stick with it.
Okay.
Reason for that, one, the name value, like the stars that the Cubs have are better than the stars that the Brewers have,
Correct.
respectfully. PCA, Tucker, Seiya, Michael Busch. That top 4 is what Busch led off yesterday, by the way.
Yeah.
Craig put Michael Busch leading off.
Is Happ at the bottom of the order, or did he sit a couple of days?
He's batting 6th.
Okay.
He sat a couple of days. He sat one day, and then because he was 2 for his last 46 or something. It was really bad. So we took him out of the leadoff. When Michael Busch leading off, it'll be against righties. Busch, Tucker, PCA, Seiya. That's the top 4. That's a top 4 in baseball that can compete with anyone in the offense. The depth lacking a little bit. That's a reason that the Brewers the Brewers have more depth than the Cubs, absolutely, right now.
Okay.
A reason I am still hopeful for the Cubs. I think the Cubs, and I don't think this is really a question, but I guess we'll see. I think the Cubs are undoubtedly going to do more at the trade deadline than the Brewers. I think they're ready to go all in. They know this might be their only season with Tucker.
We've gotten that reporting too. Like I've seen multiple reports.
And that has been reports.
The Cubs want to win the deadline, or they're shaking every tree. It sounds like.
So I see the Cubs trading for another starter, and I see them trading for a third baseman. I think Eugenio Suarez is going to be a Chicago Cub. I'm going to put that out there.
Well, he's the number one, probably the number one.
He's the number
bat.
one bat on at the deadline for sure.
And we keep hearing the Cubs want to be
a rental. Yeah,
that team that does the number one thing.
So that might honestly help the Cubs more than any pitcher would. The third base has just been atrocious for the Cubs this year.
Matt Shaw's been good defensively, but that's about it,
yes.
Right?
Offensively, absolutely not. He needs to be sent down again. He probably will. Craig didn't start him all weekend, so that tells you what he thinks about him at this point.
Yeah.
Reason that I'm worried.
Hit me.
One, obviously, devil magic for the Brewers. They just have it.
Let me elaborate on this. If it was the Pirates who had made up this ground, or the Reds, or it would be a little different.
It's because it's the Brewers, and they have won this division. Yes. They have controlled this division for the last handful of years. Until they lose the division, they are the team to beat, technically.
So that's real.
Yes.
In a big picture
organization,
sense.
Big picture sense, yes. Yeah. Pitching, obviously, Brewers got the edge. They got top rotation, top 3, like Freddie, Miz, and then who am I blanking?
Woodruff is back.
Woodruff.
I don't know.
We'll see what Woody does.
But even if Woodruff is like
form.
If he's just a nice guy at the bottom of the order, I know Quintana, like fans roll their eyes. He's been really, really productive.
Mm-hmm.
And like even the guys who aren't the sexy top names in this rotation have done well this year, to your point.
Yeah. So Brewers, I mean, Sam talked about this on their last Locked On Cubs too. The Cubs threw their absolute best punch this half. Like they're a game out of the best record in the National League. And the Brewers are 1 game back. Like they just always hang around. The Brewers always just find a way to be in there. The division is going to be decided by the 8 games the teams play each other.
Isn't that something?
They have 8 games against each other. We play each other right before the end of July, right before the trade deadline, and then the 5-game series in August at Wrigley. Those 8 games are going to determine the division.
Which will include a doubleheader that stint at Wrigley, right?
Yes.
We're getting into, this is going to be man. Austin. We got ourselves a baseball season, my friend. This is what you hope for when the season starts.
But both
at
teams,
least so far,
both teams are going to be playoff teams. At this point, I've determined that the Brewers are a playoff team. I didn't think they were, but you can never count them out. Right now, they're playing.
How many wins do you think it takes to win this division?
Ooh.
Previously, I would have said 90.
Yeah, I don't think 90 is not going to win it anymore.
I think you might need 90 plus a little something.
Yeah, I think it might be a 95, 93, something like that. Like second place might be 90. Second place in this division might be the first wild card seed, which is kind of crazy because no one at the beginning of the season, they were saying whoever wins the Central is the 3rd seed and they don't get a wild card team.
Which, by the way, happens so often where it's like that division's terrible, and then a couple months later they have 3 teams in the tournament. I'm going to read you a comment from Brian from the live stream. I want you to react to this, Austin. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is from Brian on LinkedIn. Brian, thank you for watching on LinkedIn. Wow. Saw an analysis this morning that the schlubs, I assume he means Cubs, have the easiest schedule in major leagues for the final months of the season. The Brewers have the 10th most difficult. The division is Chicago's to win or choke away. Yes, they have the payroll and the players, but they also have the pressure and the expectations. I think that's a real thing.
That's real.
I would, especially with the way the Brewers are wired, I would almost rather be the team that's like right behind.
It's like trailing right now.
Yeah. Feel like you have less to lose in that position.
That's fair.
I think that's real.
I think that's a good quote. And that goes back to the name value that I said the Cubs have. They're the better team. Like, in my opinion, like, and in most people's opinion, you look at the paper, like you look at that, they're going to say it's the Cubs division to lose. But the Brewers are a real threat, and they know that. I'm very interested. The trade deadline is going to decide a lot. I don't know what.
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
I don't know what the Brewers are going to do because they've never been an all-in team. They've never really been willing to do that. But if the Brewers go out and get anyone to replace Ortiz in the lineup or somewhere, I don't know what avenue there is, but if they get a bat, there's something there for sure. I just don't know what level they're going to go to.
I'll just be very interested to see if the Cubs go get Suarez and then the Brewers go get like another stud. And it's clear that neither one of these teams are blinking. It's like, oh boy. So we can talk a little bit more. We got to get to our last break of the hour. A couple more Cubs Brewers thoughts as we're just kind of previewing the second half of the season. We'll take your thoughts if you want to call or text in 608-321-1670 on the Home Run Derby last night, the All-Star game tonight. We're just talking baseball for the first 2 hours of the show or so. The first hour of the Bill Michaels Show wraps up after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The open road is calling, and the ride begins at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. This July, you could burn rubber on a custom Harley-Davidson in the Fire Up Your Fantasy motorcycle giveaway. Play with your rewards card all July for entries. Thursday drawings for extra cash and reward play. Fire up your fantasy, only at Potawatomi. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play.
For windows with the strongest resilience, you need the Pella Experience.
The biggest thing for us in the Experience Center was a collaboration with the team. We were able to come in and sit down and go over a bunch of different options, and it wasn't just us dictating what we wanted.
They asked us things we didn't even know or think about, from colors to hardware, and because of that, we were able to get the best possible look for our home.
Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella. Just like Jim and Haley, you too can see, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of window and door options from 7 different Pella lines, side by side, at our Pella Experience Center in Brookfield. And today is a great day to stop by because right now you can get 0% interest for up to 5 years. The Pella Experience Center is on Blue Mountain Road, kitty corner to delicious Cops. With a range of affordable options and products assembled in the USA, get the look you want at a price you can afford. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply in 7/31/2025.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back. Last couple minutes, hour number 1 of the Bill Michaels Show. Chuck Freimund looming large. He has a presence. You can feel him. He's got a gravitational pull. He's going to be here at 11:35. An hour after him, Freems, will be Justin Garcia, Bucks Radio Network. I just want to react to Miles Turner's introductory press conference, which is over the weekend in Vegas.
And also the Bucks got Cole Anthony over the weekend.
Yeah. Sneaky.
They're doing something.
Sneaky, pretty good addition. Again, given the resources they have and the options they have, I think they've done very well.
I agree.
We'll talk with Justin. Over the break, Austin, we were talking just a little bit about the Cubs' appetite to be aggressive at the trade deadline. It seems to me all this messaging is the Cubs are ready. This is the year. This is the season. To me, that signals that maybe Kyle Tucker is only here for 1 year. And when I had Sam Olber on my program a week or two ago, does great Cubs stuff, Locked on Cubs, I said, so are they re-signing Kyle Tucker? Like, is that a foregone conclusion? He's like, oh, no. I'm like, so this could be the only year they have Tucker. I guess if they don't plan on extending him, it would make sense to really go all in at this deadline.
Yeah,
right?
That's what I'm a little nervous about. If they really, in my opinion, going all in for the Cubs would be trading for Suarez and then trading for 2 starting pitchers. That is all it.
Why do you need 2?
My biggest concern, Matthew Boyd's been our best pitcher.
What about Shota?
Shota also, but Shota I'm not worried about. Shota will figure it out.
Well, then why couldn't in a playoff series you could go Boyd, Shota? Well, a 3-game series you could go Shota, Boyd, and then whoever you acquire. But then you would need another
later
acquisition.
You want a fourth, But Boyd has pitched 100 innings already. He hasn't pitched more than 100 innings since 2019, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little worried about a potential injury there. But really going all in would be getting 2 pitchers. That's to win the division. I would like throw in like the second guy doesn't need to be great. Like throw in a Zach Gallen trade package with the Suarez trade maybe, and then trade for another starter.
Okay.
Would be going all in for the Cubs, I think. But if they get Suarez and a top starter, that's all in enough.
And to you, that signals that.
And then, I'm a little worried that signals that Ricketts has already determined that he's not giving Kyle Tucker $500 million.
Damn, is he really going to get that much?
I think he's going to. That's just what he's going to get, at least 450.
Boris guy, right?
No, he's not Boris, actually.
Oh, really? I thought he was.
He is not.
Oh, well, I guess that maybe bodes well for you.
Yeah, it helps us. Cubs do not like Scott Boris. I'll tell you that much.
No, well, and nobody should like
does.
Scott Boris
Nobody
other than
does.
his clients.
Yes.
He gets them paid, but like they drag it out into spring training, and it's it's a whole ordeal. And he just seems kind of like
I'm nervous. Weirdo. I'm nervous that if Tucker enters free agency, I give it a 25% chance he comes back to the Cubs.
Right.
Like, I think that there would be a bidding war, and the Cubs are eventually going to back out. The Brewers have a bigger max contract than the Cubs.
Is that something?
Yeah, the Cubs have never paid someone more than $200 million. They've never given out a $200 million.
Which on some level is okay. Like, I don't want my team to just spend. I would rather acquire cheap, controllable talent.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, though, you're the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, you're the Chicago Cubs. And now you have get this guy. Yeah, and now you have Kyle Tucker, who is a top 10 player in the sport.
We can pick this up right on the other side. We're going to get a 2-minute update from Zach. More baseball talk on the other side, and we'll get to your phone calls as well. Any thoughts on the Derby, tonight's All-Star game, or the state of the NL Central? Brewers trying to chase down the Cubs. 608-321-16 1970. Hour number 2 of the Bill Michaels.
Camp next Wednesday, and Big Ten Media Days get going next Tuesday in Las Vegas. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil, Print.
The Seattle Mariners, hailing from Colorado, North Carolina, a man who's doing something that no catcher has ever done in the history of the sport, with the fattest ass in all of professional sports.
And leading the big leagues with 38 homers so far.
Ladies and gentlemen, Big Dopper Cal Raleigh.
A little bit more from last night's home run derby. It's such a small little thing. Austin is here as well, Austin Harper. Knower of baseball. I always like an opportunity to do some baseball talk when we're filling in for Bill. Everyone was complaining. I think it's kind of cheap. I think it's kind of childish, Austin, to complain about announcers or personalities. Like, I managed to make it through the entire NBA playoffs without really ever losing my mind over what Stephen A. Smith was saying in the pre and the post. Like, who cares? I mean, just watch the event, watch the game. Don't get bent out of shape about who's announcing. But I think the biggest story to come out of last night is baseball fans did not like Pat McAfee. I think that's the one thing that last night gave us. And that's not going to fill the talk show today. But just checking Twitter this morning and seeing what most people were talking about last night, I think that's the story, is we don't like Pat McAfee and his shirtless jersey. Give me Tim Kurchin. Give me Buster Olney. You know, what happened to the Baseball Tonight crew? Let's set them up in a desk down on the field. That's who I want to listen to.
Yeah. Give me D-Row.
D-Row. Dude, I love D-Row.
I do too.
I play so much D-Row audio on my show. We were just talking off the air. Like, I like having little sound bites to come back from a break. And D-Row is just
he's awesome.
MLB Network, man. And the NFL Network does a good job too, don't get me wrong.
MLB Network does it right. They do.
That's how it should be done. And I think the reason it's so good is you're not getting those long baseball segments on ESPN or on FS1. And with the NFL, you're getting that everywhere else. So it's not like you're tuning into NFL Network to get something completely and totally novel. MLB Network, you are. I just think I'm looking for the soundbite from D-Row that I had last week, man. It's just the balls. And every other day you can get a good soundbite on your team or one of your players. I think it's this one right
That's
here.
my favorite thing about baseball, is that there's always the next day. Like football, you have to sit on a win. I mean, it's great when you get to ride a high from a win for a week, but a loss that next week it's rough. Baseball, you lose a game, you play tomorrow.
But I will be absolutely furious until that next game.
Yeah.
That's just how it works. Here's a little from D-Row pleading to Brewers ownership. I'm sure you heard this.
I need the owner of the Brewers to go out and Lamby Lane do a few things, because this team is team's willing to fight for you and your city. They're willing to fight.
And you agree, disagree? We were just talking about the Cubs and their appetite at the deadline. You think the Brewers, D-Row, get that clap one more time. That's pretty good.
Yeah. The last time the Brewers went all in per se at the deadline was 2018. Would you agree? When they got, when they got
Moustakas
and Scope,
and then they got a couple relievers. Who did they get? Xavier Cedeno and Joaquim Soria too. Yeah,
and that team was a game away from the World Series.
Correct.
They
had a lead in Game 7 at home, for what it's worth.
This team, did I see right that they have a franchise record at the All-Star break or close to it?
If you go by total wins, this is the best first half the Brewers have ever had. If you go by winning percentage, I think it's 79 was slightly better.
Okay. You got the team. It's what it looks like. You're on 121 pace the last month and a half. Team's pretty good. Go get a guy.
You got
a farm system.
It's pretty unbelievable that they've won this many games in the first half, looking like an absolute train wreck in the first month. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's digging up old tweets. I saw old Ben Bruss doing this to Sam Decker the other day, just digging up old tweets. You know, I hate this, Austin. Just circling back on this, or just checking in on this. They were awful.
They were terrible. They were playing a terrible brand of baseball.
Not only did they stink, they were losing, but they were boring, and they had no edge, and they had no fight.
Yelich was batting under 200. Durbin was batting under 200. Ortiz was batting under 200.
Vinny Capra and Oliver Dunn were manning the third base position.
Yeah. You had a right to complain. I think you started 0-4. I think I remember a tweet you saying, like, I can already confirm this is the most boring Brewers team I've ever watched.
I said I think this was on Sunday of the opening weekend. Like Sunday morning is Nestor Cortez getting
after
absolutely
he gave up
lit
5 home runs in the first inning.
I'm like, yes, I can confirm now that this is the least likable Brewers team of my lifetime.
Yeah.
And people will circle back to it now. Like, they'll dig it up because we love old takes exposed, which I think is so stupid. I don't care about being wrong. I'm wrong all the time. You react to something when it happens, and who cares how it ages 3 months later, because 3 months later, you're talking about what's going on 3 months later. People dig up the tweets. It's like, okay, but that was true. I was watching Elvin Rodriguez start in the home opener while Oliver Dunn and Vinny Capra were playing third base.
Yeah.
And Yelich was awful to start the year. And Churio struck out 5 times on opening day, or he made 5 outs. I don't think he might have struck out 5 times.
It was at least 4.
It was a lot.
It was at least 4.
It was a lot, man.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest story with the Brewers specifically, we're talking about the division and then the All-Star break a little bit, but I think the biggest story with the Brewers is, how do you go from looking like one of the worst and least likable teams I've ever seen to, we just set a franchise record for wins in the first half? Unbelievable turnaround, my friend. I'm pulling up the box score of that opening game against the Yankees, where Devin Williams, funny enough, almost blew it. Jackson Churio in this game. Milwaukee, oh my God, he did strike out 5 times. Holy crap. Yeah, it's funny the way that this roster is turned over. Nick Mears came back and got healthy, right? Like, Brian Hudson isn't here anymore. They got rid of Tyler Alexander and the like. They've grown like a caterpillar coming out of a cocoon, Austin, on a milkweed plant. That's what's happened.
That's another thing about the Brewers. The opening day roster is never the team that does good for them. I feel like they always like have some other like random, something doesn't go right, and then they pull up another guy out. Like this year with Andrew Vaughn, like, you can do that again. Like, Hoskins
Caleb
was
Durbin,
Hoskins was supposed to be this guy at first. And Vaughn's done it for a week, so we'll see if it's extended. But like just stuff like that. Isaac Collins, you never thought he was going to be the everyday left fielder, did you?
No.
And this guy's been great. Like,
and most specifically, he's exactly what they look for. We talk about swing decisions, right? There aren't many flailers on this team. Churio does it a little bit. I think he's improved slowly as the year's gone along, but he'll expand the strike zone. But they don't have a lot of flailers. They have very disciplined hitters, and Isaac Collins is that.
Professional at bats.
Professional at bats, right? We're talking about it's an at bat. They're not just up there to flail. Isaac Collins doesn't swing. If the ball is, for the most part, outside the zone, that's when he's at his best, and he plays a hell of a left field. And he's been a rock there. So now, like, Blake Perkins is on the mend. He's going to be in the mix. He can take over as one of those rotational, backup outfielders. And he might have to start because Sal Frelick looks like he's, going to miss some time with a hamstring injury.
Is he? I didn't see
that. It sounds like it. What's annoying to me, and this is Pat Murphy's deal, man. I talked about this on my show last night. Like, a player will leave a game with an injury or a player won't be available, and then we'll hear from Murphy, and he'll be like, well, yeah, he's been dealing with something. It's like, well, then why is he out there? Here's 20 seconds for Pat Murphy on Sal Frelick's injury, just for a little background.
Yeah, I mean, I'm afraid that whenever you're dealing, his hamstrings last week, he was feeling it a little bit and cautious and got treated for it. And then when he slid, he felt like it got worse. We recommended he come out of the game. He wouldn't have taken himself out.
We've had this in the past too, where like McGill didn't come on to start the ninth. And then halfway through the ninth, the pitcher's in trouble. So they bring out McGill. And then postgame, we asked, like, okay, why McGill? And he's like, well, he's dealing with a little something. We didn't want to pitch him today. It's like, then don't bring him in. All less the reason to bring him in the middle of an inning. Like, I don't know. So I like Pat Murphy. Tell me after this call, I want one thing that you love about Counsell and one thing that bothers you about Counsell. I'll give you the same on Murph, which will mostly be a rehash of what I just said, but I can recycle material. Let's take a call first, though. 608-321-1670. It's the Bill Michaels Show. What's up?
Hey, Grant. How you doing? This is Pete.
Hi, Pete. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing great. So I know everybody's talking about we need to go in big at the trade deadline, but other than shortstop and possible, and we'll say possibly third base at this point or first, where are you gonna find room for a bat? I mean, you got Terang at second. He's not going anywhere. I don't think Isaac Collins is. I mean, has he done anything to play himself out of?
No, not at all.
Out of playing. So, I mean, he's not really probably going anywhere. You're not going to get somebody that's probably any better than what Isaac Collins is. Obviously, Churrio's not going anywhere in center. And you're not getting rid of Frelick and Wright.
No.
So, and you're not, even though he's not hitting well right now, you're still not doing anything with Contreras at catcher.
No.
So I'm just curious where everybody thinks this big bat's going to go, and what would you have to give up to get a big time shortstop? That's the whole issue. I don't want to give up half the farm system for a shortstop that might be here for a half a year. I mean, if you're giving up a lot, obviously you're going to have somebody that's got some team control for a while. But I'm really confused where people think we're going to fit this big bat in. And look, am I a huge Caleb Durbin fan? If they replace him, they replace him. But he's been pretty good.
I feel the same way. Like, yeah, he's not knocking me over, but also you could do better.
Right. I mean, you might be able to do better. And Suarez, I mean, he hits home runs, and he's a good third baseman. I got to be honest with you. Off the top of my head, I don't know what his average, what his batting average is right now.
Well, he's on pace to hit 50 homers.
Yeah, so I don't think he's ever been. I mean, he had a year a couple years ago where he hit like 40 bombs, but he hit like 190. I think that's more his thing. But I think, Pete, they can absorb that guy because their whole lineup. And I'm gonna let you go, Pete. That's a great call. Their whole lineup is guys who make contact and put the ball in play. They actually need somebody who, I'm not saying, I want someone with a worse batting average. That's not what I'm saying.
Suarez is batting 250 with 31 bombs.
That's actually, man, he's hitting 250.
That'll play.
That's that's a lot better than I would have guessed.
Play.
Pete, you are correct in that there is not an obvious gaping hole on this.
But there's always
roster.
room to improve.
Yeah.
Can Caleb? I have a question. I don't even know. Can Caleb Durbin play shortstop?
I think he probably slots best as a second baseman. I
Okay.
think if they needed him to play short, he probably could.
Because I'm just throwing out an idea. Like, I know you saw Brewers Twitter get ready to learn Alex Bregman or something.
Yeah.
Like, if that's
Yeah, and then the stupid Red Sox had to go and win 10 in a row. Kill that dream.
I have a name for the Brewers.
Okay.
Ryan O'Hearn. That's the guy.
From the Orioles.
If the Brewers make a big move, that's the guy.
This is who Jeff Passan wrote about, right?
Yes.
So
from the Orioles, he's an all-star starter, by the way.
I'd be down with that.
That's the guy for the Brewers. If they make a trade for a bat, that's the guy. I get that you're getting production from Andrew Vaughn right now, but you can't rely on that. Hoskins wasn't great per se.
No.
When he was in.
Definitely not great.
Ryan O'Hearn's the guy. If you make a trade for a bat.
I think that would make sense. Look, I want to be clear, Pete. I like Isaac Collins a lot. And I think a lot of Brewers fans have actually underrated how good he's been. That being said, I mean, you could upgrade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Isaac Collins isn't a problem, but you can find an upgrade, and the team could stand to benefit from that upgrade.
Yelich played the field on Sunday, right?
He did, and I think we're going to see a little bit more of that.
Especially if Sal misses time.
If Sal misses time,
gonna have to.
And I really think they're going to try to get Contreras some DH days.
shots.
It's not going to fix his finger, but it'll keep the rest of his body from wearing down.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That makes
like
sense.
If he just has a finger and everything else works okay, like I think there's great value in that. He can still help you.
Yeah. So you're gonna slot Yelich in at left, and then
not every day, but I think.
But yeah, if
maybe here and there.
I don't know if Sal misses time. Does Blake Perkins play center and you move Cheerio to right?
This is
another.
This is another thing. I kind of just want to leave Cheerio in center. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to keep futzing with his position.
Mm-hmm.
He was a center fielder in the minors. He was outstanding at it. I think he slots in as a future center fielder for this team for a long time. And I think he's probably getting to the point now after a couple weeks of just doing it every day where he's feeling good about it. Blake Perkins would probably be slightly better, but I think Blake Perkins can help you a lot in right, playing for Sal or playing in left. If Christian Yelich is DHing or you want to play Isaac Collins somewhere else, like I'm not overly worried about shifting everything around to accommodate Blake Perkins. He's just an option who could be helpful and very useful, especially if Sal Frelick is injured. I don't think I want to move Cheerio out of center. I'm not the perfect person to ask. I think that's an item that we should discuss with Chuck when Freems joins us at 11:35. Coming back, I want to talk a little bit about the difference in cultures between the Brewers and the Cubs, the two managers, something that you love about Counsell, something that you can't stand. I will give you those things regarding Pat Murphy as well. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. This is the Bill Michaels Show.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Murph Joey's been out of the lineup back-to-back days now. Is there something that he's dealing with?
Yeah, the manager's pissed. You know what I mean? I want him to give me his best approach at the plate, and we've given him a lot, and we play him every day, and we need him. And he can't just have lapses at the plate like that, So he's got to fight through that.
Was it related at all to, it just seemed like he took a lot of pitches in Miami? Is that part of it?
Yeah, his swing decisions have been the worst it's been, and he's swinging the bat way better, but his swing decisions now, and then so all that mental stuff, they'll sit and think about it.
That's from last week. Austin, I'm sure that you saw that quote. Maybe you heard that audio of Joey Ortiz is sitting a couple days in a row now. Is he going through something? And Murphy looks at David Gasper, who's there from 97.3 and Athlon Brewers, says, yeah, he's going through something. The manager's pissed at him because he keeps watching strike one, strike two, strike three right down the pipe. That is some honesty and some accountability, dare I say, Austin, you don't typically get from managers in Major League Baseball today. A lot of former players who are friendly with their players, who are not far removed from being players. And I think that's led to an environment. You hear this from Yankees fans a lot. Oh, Aaron Boone, they need somebody to, they need someone who's not such a player's manager. Okay, well, who? I think of Pat Murphy, right? So I like the accountability. His bullpen management sometimes is a little reckless. That frustrates me. The way that the organization as a whole has handled injuries, like there's no reason for William Contreras now for 3 straight seasons to be dealing with a broken finger. Like that just can't happen. It just can't happen. Or Sal Frelick playing the day before the All-Star game with a hamstring that's giving him issues, and then he hurts it when he just could have had the day off and then had almost a week. If you just combine that off day then with the All-Star break. So that was frustrating. There are a couple things that frustrate me about Pat Murphy. On balance, I mostly really enjoy the Pat Murphy experience. Gives us good sound bites. I think it's an entertaining brand of baseball. You tell me as a Cubs fan, something that Craig Counsell is doing this year that you really like, you think has helped the team, and then maybe something that annoys you a little bit and drives you up a wall.
Thing that I really like, I think he does press the right buttons in the bullpen a lot. And I think he knows when to take a pitcher out usually.
Okay.
With the starters.
Why did he leave Tyone in a couple weeks ago? That's
a good one.
That's so unlike him.
Yeah. Usually he has a very quick leash with the starters usually, which I don't hate, especially with the Cubs bullpen. It's been really good. The only gripe I have on him this year, and I know this gripe, is Dansby Swanson was batting 5th for 2 months, and he is batting under 200 with runners in scoring position, and he was the one behind Seiya Suzuki, Kyle Tucker, Pete Crow Armstrong.
Yeah.
There was always guys on in front of him.
Yep.
And he was batting under 200 when we have Nico Horner, who is batting over 300 with runners in scoring position. But he has changed the lineup around the last this weekend. Ian Happ is no longer the leadoff hitter.
And Nico's batting leadoff.
Nico is going to bat leadoff versus lefties. And it looks like Michael Busch is going to bat leadoff versus righties.
That's such a Counsell
for the
thing
time
to do.
being.
Murphy would never do that. And I'm not even saying good or bad, but I remember Counsell used to lead off Thames in certain matchups. It's like, no, I want Sal Frelick. And by the way, if you ask Sal Frelick, ask about power, he'll say, don't put ideas in Sal's head. Don't get him thinking about hitting home runs,
Mhm.
right? There's definitely an old school approach to leadoff hitter where I think the more modern manager, and Counsell probably is in that bucket, like it doesn't have to be the guy who walks and has average. It could be a power bat that just has a nice matchup against, the righty lefty pitcher of the day. And I think that's kind of Michael Busch's role.
Yeah. And I love, I guess it's when he's on your team, you love him. Like I love Craig's just mannerism, how he's he's never too over dramatic on anything really. Especially in the press conference.
I don't know if
he's
he's
a little boring.
Dramatic
at
all.
Yeah.
Forget over dramatic.
Yeah.
He did give it to Bruce Levine about a week or so ago in his own way, where Levine, I don't even remember what the question was, but he asked some long-winded, and Craig was like, Bruce, we're just trying to win baseball games, man. I don't even know. That's about as much as you'll get from him. Or the Jesse Rogers, I think that's a bad take from last summer, that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if I have that audio. Here's, by the way, Pat Murphy. You talk about leadoff hitters and power. Michael Busch has plenty of it. Probably has a case to be an all-star, even though he isn't. Here's a question about Sal Frelick hitting a home run over the last week, and Murphy's response.
Let's not talk about Sal and power, okay? He's 5'5" and 155. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Anybody clicks a ball in the front. You know what I mean? If you click a ball, it's going to leave. Let's not start putting that in his head. Do you know what that would do to Sal? Want to keep him right where he is.
You just want to keep that guy hitting 315, slap singles all day at the top of the order, where, again, Counsell probably takes a little bit of a different approach. It's not that you don't want your leadoff guy to get on base, Austin. I don't think that's Counsell's school of thought. It's like, well, if we have to have a traditional leadoff hitter, that limits our flexibility in the lineup. That limits our flexibility to play certain matchups. I think that's very much a Counsell
He's
thing.
a very matchup dependent guy.
Absolutely.
I mean, Busch was platooning with Justin Turner for a good few months because he wouldn't bat Busch against lefties.
Mm-hmm.
That's another gripe that give the kid some run with how Busch was, and he has now. So the urgency with Craig, I think, a lot of times I see it it seems like for the most part he's very urgent, but then with the Swanson thing, that was just a head scratcher. But he has a lot of urgency as a manager. It seems like, especially his in-game short leash with the pitchers usually.
Yeah.
And then goes
that's what made that Tyone thing start so odd. It's so unlike him.
On Saturday, Boyd pitched 8 shutout innings against the Yankees. They pulled him with 85 pitches. Could have gone out for the 9th, but held him.
I'm looking for this Craig Counsell exchange with Jesse Rogers last year. I have this cut titled Jesse Rogers. I just want to see what this is.
Talking to the league and
it's just Jesse Rogers. I'm going to try to find that, but Counsell getting into it with Jesse Rogers last year. I think that's a bad take. Christopher Morel swinging for the lake. Remember that chestnut?
Yeah.
Which I feel like he was, by the way.
Probably.
I think that's Christopher Morel's bag. I remember
when I thought he was going to be good.
I think he was Craiger's guy. Craig loved Morel. I remember early on last year, you could tell that was,
the Cubs haven't had a good third baseman since they traded Bryant. They've just been shuffling every year.
I don't know the last time the Brewers had a good third
baseman. Go get
Eugenio
Suarez, man.
The first half of Joey Ortiz last year maybe counts.
The last 2 months of Caleb Durbin's a good third baseman.
Is Ian Happ on the trade block? Do you think Jeremy comments Happ hitting 181 the last month should have been moved out of the leadoff spot a while ago? You think Happ's staying on the team?
He has a no trade clause. He's staying on the team.
Why does he have a no trade clause?
Just longest tenured Cub last time. That was part of his last extension. It was that's what he wanted in his deal, and we gave it to him.
I guess.
It's what he did. He did a 3-year extension. Yeah, Happ should have been moved out of the leadoff spot. We finally did.
3 years, 61, so he makes 20 per. Okay.
Suzuki has a no trade clause too.
What the hell? Is that what it takes to get guys to sign to play for the Cubs?
I guess so.
I saw the only reason.
And they don't want to move. They want to play for him, and they don't want to move.
Moving sucks. Take it from me. Okay. It sucks worse when you have a broken foot. Lastly, the only reason I bring this up is because I saw a Photoshop edit of Ian Happ in a Pirates hat last night, and the comment was like, do it, Jed, or something like that.
I would trade Ian Happ in a package for Skeens.
Well, yeah, I guess I don't even know if that's what it was getting at. But I started to have nightmares because I can't imagine dealing with the Pirates team that includes Ian Happ, Brian Reynolds, and O'Neal Cruz, three guys who absolutely, for whatever reason, turn into prime Cal Ripken against the Brewers. Like,
Ian Happ is
I
just
can't have it.
Prime Barry Bonds against any NL Central
Yeah,
team.
and
any NL Central
and
team.
what a weapon. Like Corbin Burns was the same way. Some guys just, you get in division play and they just light it up. And that's been Brian Reynolds specifically against the Brewers. O'Neal Cruz, not so much their last series, but normally. And then you throw Ian Happ in that mix. And it's not just hitting. It's like, now I'm going to start gunning guys down from left. Like I'm going to turn into like a gold glove, like a platinum glove level left fielder against the Brewers and the rest of the divisions too. Austin, we're going to break to get to Freems. Are you going to be back in at any point this week?
Yeah, I'm in tomorrow for sure.
Sweet.
At some point.
You
Wednesday or Thursday to be determined.
We can do an hour or two tomorrow on the All-Star game and
perfect.
Second half preview, that sort of
thing.
thing.
Excited to see what headline we get. For your sake, I hope Miz pitches well.
Yeah, I don't know what the headline, again, I don't know what it's going to be.
I hope PCA has a 5-star 0% catch probability in the first and then goes yard later.
There's a headline coming.
Yes.
There's no world in which all the TV shows and radio shows start tomorrow and say, well, nothing much happened last. There has to be something. So I just hope it's not Miz getting shelled. That would be a bummer. Chuck Freeman's going to join us next. Austin, we will connect tomorrow and talk more.
See you tomorrow.
Nice. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. We'll be back in a couple minutes with Chuck Freeman, the Locked On Brewers podcast.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Gear up for Quick Trip's Mountain Dew Quick Climb. Now through August 17th. Play free daily in the Quick Rewards app and earn bonus plays with every eligible purchase. Grab one with hot food. That's 2 bonus plays. Each week, the cash prize climbs by $5,000, all the way to a $250,000 grand prize. So open the app and get climbing. Your summer, your climb, your win. No purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents residing in Illinois, Iowa, Minnesota, Michigan, South Dakota, North Dakota, or Wisconsin. Ends August 17th. Bonus plays require qualifying purchase. See full rules at quicktrip.com/sweepstakes.
For windows with the strongest resilience, you need the Pella Experience.
The biggest thing for us in the Experience Center was a collaboration with the team. We were able to come in and sit down and go over a bunch of different options. And it wasn't just us dictating what we want.
Asked us things we didn't even know or think about, from colors to hardware. And because of that, we were able to get the best possible look for our home.
Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella. Just like Jim and Haley, you too can see, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of window and door options from 7 different Pella lines, side by side, at our Pella Experience Center in Brookfield. And today is a great day to stop by because right now you can get 0% interest for up to 5 years. The Pella Experience Center is on Blue Mountain Road, kitty corner to delicious cups. With a range of affordable options and products assembled in the USA, get the look you want at a price you can afford. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply in 7/31/2025.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
I'm pretty fired up, that's for damn sure. Just happy to be around this clubhouse, and great group of guys to enjoy this with, that's for damn sure. This was number one for me this year. You guys asked me earlier this season, and I kept it to myself that this is what, I was striving for, and a lot of hard work and a lot of pitchers in front of me, a lot of my bullpen guys in front of me, putting it down and giving me the opportunity to go out there and get saves this year. So, without the guys around me, this probably wouldn't be possible, so.
That's Trevor McGill. For all the talk about Mizorowski, it's become a little bit of a lightning rod, mostly because, it's a really slow time in the sports calendar. And, someone with 5 starts made in the All-Star game. There we go. There's a topic. There's some controversy. That's something we can glom onto. And as a talk show host, someone who has to come up with topics, I understand that's how it works. But McGill, at least among Brewers fans the last couple of days, I think has flown under the radar. Someone who's had a really impressive season, a deserving All-Star, and you hear him talk there about how that's been a goal for him and something that he's been striving for this season. And why not? As an anchor of this bullpen and this team that's shown that they can win consistently, you knew you'd have opportunities. An excellent opportunity here at 11:35. It is Tuesday to connect with our friend Chuck Freeman, the Locked On Brewers podcast. Chuck, it is great to see you. You look excellent. You look tan. Have you been out golfing? What is this? You look great.
All the above.
All?
Yes, all the above. Been out getting a suntan while golfing, but playing absolutely horrible golf.
I played 9 holes that I walked with a friend on Sunday. We were kind of down south of La Crosse. We went to Viroqua Hills. They had a league championship going on, so we had to tuck our tails. We went to the Westby ski jump, the snowflake course. We couldn't get in. I couldn't believe it. So we ended up playing Walsh Golf Center in La Crosse. Very simple, some par 3s and 4s. Walked the whole thing. It was beautiful. I got a little tan myself, brought the sunscreen. I mostly just used about 2 clubs. I did not touch my driver all day, which I think is what I need. I think that's
Okay. You know, the funny thing about golf these days is, like, on a Saturday, you used to be able to walk onto a golf course at 3 or 4 o'clock, and it'd be a desert. You'd have no problem. But since the pandemic, man, you got to get those tee times at 3, 4, or 5 o'clock on a Saturday night now, or on a Sunday, because people are rushing to those courses, and there's a passion for golf these days.
Which, by the way, it was our fault. We should have called. But it was last minute. You know, you keep clubs in your trunk. You never know when the opportunity is going to come up. So I'll apologize for nothing. We got to play a quick 9, and it worked out. So did you have any reaction? Did you watch the Home Run Derby last night? Typically, you know how the sports radio world works. Like the day after an All-Star game, people just complain, and then they talk about how they need to fix it.
So they've changed the rules so much on that. I don't even watch it. I don't. There was no Brewers in it, not since Jeremy or Prince Fielder won it in Arizona a few years ago. And I was thinking back when Jeremy Burnitz won it in 1999. But
yeah, just a couple years ago, not too long.
And then in recent years, I did it so I didn't have to listen to Chris Berman. I stayed away from it, and so I didn't even. Honest to God, I don't even know who won. Was it O'Neal Cruz?
No, he was second place to Cal Raleigh, the big dumper, who Pat McAfee introduced. He was doing introductions last night, which is something that people were annoyed by too.
Okay. Now, Pat, I know he had his, or not Pat, Cal Raleigh had his dad pitching to him. I know that. Mm-hmm. When I was watching a Mariners broadcast, they were taking batting practice in Seattle. But I mean, that guy's amazing, man. That guy, I'm not surprised that he won it. He would have been my pick to win it.
It's pretty fun to watch. Well, the Brewers, I think, All-Star, we're talking about McGill and Mizorowski, and we can talk about coming out of the break and what the team should do moving forward. But I think this week, Brewers fans, we kind of have to appreciate how this team went from looking like the worst Brewers team probably in this era, right? Ever since they started, kind of getting it going in 2017. Mm-hmm. They were awful through the first month, and they turned it around to such a degree that they just, set a franchise record for wins in the first half. It's pretty hard to believe the transformation that this team took over the last few months.
Oh, you're right. Because I thought they were on the skate to nowhere. I mean, each and every night, it didn't seem like, Grant, they were going anywhere. They got off to that poor start, and then they're 4 games under the 500 mark in May. And some of the national guys are talking, well, we'd love to have Freddie Peralta on this team. How those national guys talk. And then Memorial Day weekend came, and they turned it around in Pittsburgh. And here we are, 35-15 since that 4 games under, and doing it in so many different fashions. And I think one of the keys, Grant, and I'm sure you talked about this, Frelick at the top of the order. Now we're hoping that, he's not going to be on the injured list, or he's not going to have to spend an amount of time off, because they really need him. Been a catalyst at the top of that order. And I think that's been a big key for this offense.
I think Yelich, he obviously started so poorly. So him just kind of finding the back of his baseball card was huge. Churio as well. But I think I hear a lot, especially the radio broadcasters, Levering and Lane Grindle, they were talking about this a lot the other night, the lengthening of the lineup. And I think that starts at the top with Sal Frelick, like you said, but also Caleb Durbin has found a nice little niche. And Ortiz, despite Murph's comments and some ugly at-bats over the last week, did have a nice month. Like when your 1 hitter and then your 8 and 9 hitters are all contributing and kind of doing their job in concert with the meat of the order, just kind of settling in. I guess it's no surprise that this team has been a lot better over the last 2 months.
Oh yeah, and they needed somebody in the heart and the order like Yelich to light it up. I mean, you could have all the pitching in the world, but you got to be able to score some runs. And when you don't have 3 and 4 and 5 producing for you, I mean, it's tough to win that way. So they've had to lead off. They've had guys at the bottom of the order. And yeah, I think I've told you this before. I don't think Ortiz is long for this team. I'm not this year he's going to be on it, but I mean, in the long term, I think that maybe they have other plans for Ortiz, and maybe it doesn't involve, being on that 40-man roster. But the Brewers have done it, and they've started to hit too. There's been times when they got to rely heavily on their pitching, but their pitching has been so good that they've been able to get away with when their offense isn't producing.
So here's $1 million question, because you're hearing a lot of the national pundits like D-Row on MLB Network and these guys like the Brewers pitching and defense. That's what wins in the postseason. This team is set up to succeed in October. Mm-hmm. And I started thinking, well, I remember thinking the same thing in 2021 and the same thing in 2023. And they looked not even close to the Braves or the Diamondbacks in those series. So what's different about this team that would make you feel like their odds are better?
I felt the last few years, I felt as good as I have now, where I think, okay, here we go. This is October baseball.
Yep.
And then we get to that mini series and we're done after a couple of games. So it's a matter of who plays well in October, getting hot. Look at the Mets. They got hot in October last year. Look at Arizona a few years ago. They got hot. Atlanta, when they played the Brewers in 2021, they got on a roll. You can go back to the Cardinals in 2011 against the Brewers. They got on a roll and won the World Series. So that's what it is. I think you could stack together all these regular season wins and all that, but somehow you got to be able to capture that magic at the right time in October and hope it works for you.
Do you think chasing the Cubs, being behind the Cubs, being the team that's chasing, puts them maybe in a better spot to be feeling that and to have that kind of vibe at the end of the season, rather than it's our division and it's kind of been our division for 2 months? Maybe that's actually a good spot for this team.
Yeah, I thought at one point only the wild card was going to be in play, Grant, but being a game behind the Cubs, that's going to be fun. You remember in 2019, they were chasing the wild card spot and they had to get roasting hot in September and did. And then they got to that one game playoff game and they fell apart against Washington. But you could be playing your best baseball in September, but who knows when you get to October. I'd love for them to get one of the top 2 seeds so we don't have to go through that wild card round. And they're right there. They're right there. Where a couple of months ago, I didn't think a 1 or 2 seed was even possible. But they're in the chase like they were last year. Last summer they were in this kind of the same position.
What is your appetite for an aggressive buy at the deadline, maybe relative to some of the last few years? Where do you stand on what they could do?
People want to stay infield, but I like to see a power hitting outfield.
Sure.
I would love to see somebody in left field and a power hitting left field or center fielder.
Scoop up whoever's playing Isaac Collins' role.
Yeah. I mean, Isaac Collins, I don't think long-term he's the starting left fielder. I really don't. I think he's a rotation outfield guy. It's not like he's having an all-star year. He's doing everything asked of him. He's one of the best defending left fielders by the stats and the numbers and the analytics in baseball. I just think if they could do better in left field, why not?
And I don't think when we talk about replacing Isaac Collins, it's not that we think Isaac Collins is bad. I think he's been exactly what they've needed him to be in most spots, especially defensively.
Oh, sure.
It's just a spot you could stand to get a little bit of a beefier at bat. Would you, now as Blake Perkins comes back, and Sal Frelick's health will depend, but would you move Churio around or would you leave him in center and kind of build everything around that?
No, I'd move him to corner spot.
Really?
I would. And I think Blake Perkins will get called up if Frelick's, he's going to get called up if Frelick's going to spend some time on the injured list.
Yeah.
We'll find that out soon. But yeah, I really think he's done a nice job out there. He's made some nice catches. He's made some mistakes, but center field is not his natural position. I know he played it in the minor leagues and all that, but I'd rather see him somewhere else.
You'd rather see him on a corner. I mean, it would certainly give them more flexibility. It felt like they went, here's what I get hung up on. It felt like they went through some growing pains to get him comfortable in center field. And now I feel like he's comfortable in center field. Now, if you put Blake Perkins there,
okay,
you can't do much better defensively. But now I wondered, after finally getting him settled, do you want to start moving him around again? I just wonder how that impacts.
I see that point, but I think left field is a nice settling position for anybody. I mean, of the 3 outfield spots, left field is the spot you always want to bury your guy. Not that you want to bury Churio because he's not bad defensively, but Perkins and Frelick or whoever's, Perkins is a Gold Glove center field. I don't want to see Perkins in the everyday lineup either, unless I have to have him because of injury.
Yeah.
But if you somehow got another center fielder, I'd move him over to left field.
Little bit of a thought experiment just for fun. If the Brewers started a 3-game wild card series next week and you could line up your starters any way that you want, would you go Peralta, Mizorowski, Woodruff? Who would be your third starter that you trust the most right now?
You mean for this weekend against the Dodgers?
Yeah, or just let's just like a trust tree. If you had to rank your starters and line them up any way you could have them for a playoff series.
For a playoff series. I would go Peralta. Peralta would be number 1, and then I'd throw Mizorowski as 2 and Woodruff. That's pretty good 3 if you got to a game 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be it for me. It's just again the pitching, the bullpen, and Grant never has been a concern for me at all. I've never thought, they really need to go out there and get themselves some pitching. No, I'm good with the pitching. I just think that offensively, they still need to stretch a few things out. They sent 3 pitchers to the All-Star game, but you'd be hard pressed to find anybody who really deserves to be on the All-Star team from the offense, from the lineup.
Freddie Peralta has 11 wins, which is kind of nuts. Do you think Brewers fans are underrating the season that he has? And I'll speak for myself. I think sometimes we watch him and he's so wild and it's not always the most efficient, but then you look up at the end of the game, it's like, oh, he threw 6 innings of 2 hits, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk. And like, why does the eye test sometimes with Freddie not match up with the results? He's got 11 wins. I think we're underrating the season that he's having.
Yeah. I think once in a while he runs into a high pitch count and, like the 3rd inning, you're sitting there and he's got 75 pitches on the board there. And you're like, what are we going to do here? The other day he was able to go deep into the game and obviously didn't allow a hit to the 6th inning. But he's been phenomenal. He has been phenomenal. The only problem again is that sometimes he runs into a pitch count and he'll get up. There'll be a hitter working him for 12 or 13 pitches in an at bat, and they don't need that because obviously that taxes the bullpen in the long run. But Freddie made a great start. I mean, didn't have to. Everybody was available in the bullpen on a Sunday, but he went deep into the game the other day and he was terrific. Got more of that, man. He's definitely worked himself into the ace position on the team.
And his last 3 starts have been really impressive. That first game against the Mets where he went 6 innings, and then what he did against the Dodgers, and then against Washington, right, taking that no-hitter deep into the game. So
sure.
I think the last week or 2 has been just about as impressed as I've been with Freddie, probably in a long time. What do you have coming up, Locked On Brewers, this week? Do you have all-star content? Do you have a second-half preview, or are you kind of waiting until the games start again?
Yeah, I talked a little bit, just dropped an episode overnight, talked a little bit about the Major League Baseball draft on this show. Talked to, obviously, the hate for Miz out there, and people not named Milwaukee Brewers fans just got to get over it because he's pitching tonight, 6th or 7th inning. Granted, I hope he doesn't get booed. I'm a little worried about that. I hope he doesn't get booed. Doesn't deserve it.
That'd be so lame. That'd be such loser behavior. Like some of the quotes from those Phillies players, it's like, do you guys hear yourselves? You sound like children.
Eddie, Phillies should be concerned about playing some better baseball in October, as should the Brewers. But
we know that.
Yeah,
we're aware of that at least.
We're used to that. We're not. Our payroll's not what theirs is, and we're not buying pennants like they do. My podcast you get on Google, Spotify, Apple. We're on all the major downloads. Wherever you download your audio podcasts, we're there. And plus, go to YouTube. We're over 5,000 subscribers. It's all free. Go to YouTube, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and that'll alert you every time we drop an episode. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter as well. Chuck Freimund, Freimund.
Appreciate it, Chuck. Thank you for the time, and thank you for putting up with me instead of Bill. He'll be back next week.
And you're a pro's pro, my friend.
Well, thank you. It's a fun change of pace. Have a good one, Chuck. Appreciate it. Chuck Freimund, the Locked On Brewers podcast. We appreciate his time. Anybody who's willing to come on like once a week as a guest, like that's just, we're lucky to have him. And I do really enjoy Chuck. So support his podcast as a thank you for him giving time to Bill's show and giving time to this network. When we come back, a couple closing thoughts on a couple things that Chuck and I discussed. Next hour, Justin Garcia, the Bucks Radio Network, a good buddy, and we're going to react to some of the things that Miles Turner had to say. Just, I don't know what I expected from that presser, but I didn't expect to hear some of the things that I heard. So we'll react to that and a lot more All-Star Derby talk throughout the show. Your call's welcome as well at 608-321-1670.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
It's the Bill Michaels Show. Welcome back. Appreciate Chuck Freimund one last time. Support his podcast. Please follow him on Twitter as a thank you for all the time that he gives this show throughout Brewers season. Let's take a quick call, and we can continue to talk Brewers. We'll take this into the 12 o'clock hour. Skid is in lacrosse at 608-321-1670. What's up, Skid?
Hey, how you going?
It's going great.
Just thought I'd talk about a little bit about Christian Yelich. I'm wondering if the people think that he should have been on the reserve All-Star team. He had a pretty good season so far. He started out slow a little bit, but he came on hot, just like the whole team, the Brewers did. And I think he was kind of a spark plug, one of the spark plugs to get that team back on track. He's got 89 hits, 19 home runs. His batting average is .259. His RBIs are 65, and he's got 14 stolen bases.
He's doing a little bit of
pretty
everything.
good first half.
Yeah.
And I compared him with the other reserve outfielders, and he's right in the mix. He's ahead of some of them on some stats and behind on others. So I'm just wondering what you think about Christian Yelich making the reserve All-Star team.
Well, I appreciate that, Skid, and I think it's a worthwhile conversation. I said this on my show last week, and I kind of hit at this yesterday when I was in for Bill. Just about every team, I think, could find a player on their roster and said, well, look at their numbers and look at their performance. Like, that's a player that has a real case to be included. Because baseball is such a huge sport, there are pitchers, there are outfielders, infielders, catchers. It's not like basketball where it's 5-on-5 and then some bench players. Like, that's a small group. That all-star team, that's a small group. Baseball's a little bit more expansive, and you start with, the opt-outs side opens a lot of doors. I'm a little surprised because Yelich has the name, right? Like Michael Busch talked about this with Austin, who was in for the last 2 hours. It's a Cubs player who's got better stats than Freddie Freeman, for example. Right? You can make the argument, well, why isn't Michael Busch an all-star? Well, Michael Busch is not Freddie Freeman in name and image and likeness. Christian Yelich is, right? You can't look at Yelich and say, well, he's not there because there's just a star power. There's a ton of star power there. I guess I'm a little surprised that he's not there. You could make the case, and you made the case, Did that maybe he should be his reserve. But I don't think they have that many back out. I don't think they have that many starters and position players back out, at least not like they have, which is why we end up in play for Mr. House with 5 stars. All of a sudden, all-star going to appear reportedly in the 7th inning. I'm not sure how they know that. A lot of reporters last night sharing that. We'll pick this up on the other side. A half hour of your Brewers calls before we get to Justin Garcia. 608-321-1670. How we looking? Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Bill Michaels Show. The show is actually flying by today. Appreciate you being here. Thanks again to Austin Harper. Did the first 90 minutes with us. He'll be back tomorrow. We can talk a little more All-Star and preview the second half. I love talking baseball with Austin. And he got my motor running a little bit. He's a Cubs fan. He was telling me that he's going to go to Wrigley on Sunday to watch the Cubs. They're playing the Red Sox, and Garrett Crochet's going on Sunday. And I'm like, do I want to go? I feel like I might want to go to that. Problem is, Austin's going with his family, so I couldn't just leech onto his plans. And then I started thinking, well, who in my life would want to do that? Who either loves baseball enough to drive down to Chicago on a Sunday when the Brewers aren't at home, or who in my life is either a Cubs fan or a Red Sox fan? And I thought, you know who's a Red Sox fan? Colton Bartholomew, the State Journal, joins the shows to talk Badgers all the time. I should ask Colton. And he said, I messaged him and he quickly answered. He's like, dude, I wish, but Big Ten Media Days start next week in Vegas. I forgot about that. So we'll have to talk about that with Zach probably early next week on this program. And I do have an evening drive show, not to plug my own stuff as I fill in for Bill, but 4 to 6 every night. I was off last night because I had to go get an x-ray. That's another thing that could make this day trip to Wrigley a little challenging is I am in a walking boot with crutches. The walking boot helps because it keeps that thing locked in there, but I can't really put weight on it yet, but maybe by Sunday, who knows? Like, yeah, that's what I need financially and medically to go to Chicago on a Sunday to watch two teams, neither of which are my own. But sunny day at Wrigley, watch a baseball game. I told Austin I could even wear a polo. I could dress like a douche because that flies down there. Doesn't really fly at American Family Field. I'll, wear, Duck Point Resort, an old camo shirt that's, frayed and has been around since the 80s. At one point was used as an oil rag at the boat landing. Now that's what I wear to Brewer games. I do love the Brewers and I love American Family Field. Not always the most well put together crowd when you see the crowd shots on the screen. Wrigley a little different. I think too far the other way. I got my vest and my dress pants on, and I just came from my office where I was, trading penny stocks all days. If you have Brewers thoughts, whether it's on the second half of the season, reacting to the first half of the season, or last night, if you watched the Derby, I watched the Derby hoping I got to get an hour out of this. I got to have takes. I got to have something from the Derby. Nothing much. And to be honest, there wasn't much that was said last night on the internet about the Derby one way or another, except that people do not like Pat McAfee being a part of baseball things.
The Seattle Mariners, hailing from Colorado, North Carolina, a man who's doing something that no catcher has ever done in the history of the sport, with the fattest ass in all of professional sports.
And leading the big leagues with 38 homers so far.
Ladies and gentlemen, Big Dumper Cowley.
Big Dumper is a good nickname. He's having a tremendous season. Do I need Pat McAfee? Here's what I don't necessarily need in sports media. I don't need yelling all the time. Every once in a while, you get riled up about something. But then if you're going to yell about sports, like I do want there to be an unspoken admission of what we're doing is kind of ridiculous. Like back in the early First Take days when Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless would go at it, and one or the other would be so incredulous at something coming out of the other's mouth. They'd go, oh, and you'd almost see them smiling like, are you really saying that? Like it would be fun. Like we're going to yell sometimes when we get fired up, but it's sports and we know it's dumb and we're going to, it's silly. Now in sports media, like it almost feels like political radio in that, no, this is my opinion and you're a bad person if you don't agree with it. And I'm going to yell at you and I'm going to bang you over the head with it. Not that, I'm not casting aspersions on political talk radio, but you know what I mean? Like I think sports, there's this air of lightness and fun. It's a game. And all too often now I watch Stephen A. Smith. I'm like, do you enjoy your job? Like, do you like coming in to talk about sports? Because it kind of seems like it's a chore for you. Like you come in pissed off. Like that's just the default for Stephen A. Smith or even Pat McAfee now. And maybe you make that much money and you enter this place in your career where like, I will take no disrespect. And I will not deal with, higher ups or other people, coming for my show or coming for my money. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's changed a little bit. I obviously make mountains of money as the executive producer of the Bill Michaels show and the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. So I can relate a little bit, I guess. The amount of disrespect that I have to deal with is just massive. But yeah, McAfee last night, that was kind of the one hot button issue. Cal Raleigh did advance. The tiebreaker was used. He advanced past, I can't remember who even the other hitter was. I think I bookmarked it. I'll pull it up. But the decimal points were like 5-6 digits deep. It's like, now, wait a minute here. So the longest home run was the tiebreaker between Brent Rooker, that's right, and Cal Raleigh. Cal Raleigh's home run traveled 470.61. Brent Rooker's traveled 470.53. I would just like to plant my flag on something. I am not a conspiracy theory guy for the most part. Of course, there's some things going on. I'm not someone who believes that everybody in a position of power is on the up and up. Of course, there's some things going on behind the scenes. I pick and choose my conspiracies a little bit. The Denver airport one fascinates me just because it would make complete and total sense to, like, if you were going to build a safety shelter for the end of the world, it would make sense to build it under a new airport, especially if the property's that big. And also, like, our government better have built something like that. They better have some secret hidey hole where all the decision makers can go in the event of war. Like, they better, I will think less of my government if they haven't built something like that. So I like the Denver airport conspiracy. I don't really dabble in vaccines. The moon landing doesn't make it move for me, but the Denver airport, that's one conspiracy that I enjoy. I am not, my point is here, I'm not a skeptic naturally. I'm a rather trusting human being. The home run measurements, the distance measurements, the approximations, I don't buy those things for a minute. Not for 60 seconds do I believe that those numbers are correct. It happens all too often where a Brewers player will jack one off the center field scoreboard. High up there, high flying, towering fly ball. Or somebody will hit one out over the tundra territory, or like, it's very rare that we've seen right-handers go out to that part of the park, but if you get it up, like, what's the deck up there? But beneath Bernie's Terrace, but above the outfield bleachers, and you can send it out through the panels. Like, sometimes players will hit one out. I saw Adam Dunn hit a moonshot out of there years ago. Like, holy crap. It's just something you don't see a lot. And then they'll share the number on the broadcast. It's like 424. Like, no chance. Like, that ball was going to roll all the way to the Molitor lot. And you're telling me that it went 4. Like, I just don't buy the numbers. I don't buy the numbers, and I don't buy catch probability either. I do not buy catch probability, especially as it relates to, like, home run robberies. Like, Blake Perkins will run 35 yards, jump out of his shoes, and pull a home run back from a yard over the wall. And then I'll have people on Twitter. It's like, wow, it was like 97% catch probability, though. You can't believe that. I know that you're doing math, and I know that you're making calculations, but just logically think about it. An outfielder is not making that catch 98 times out of 100. You do realize that's what 98% catch probability means, is that out of 100 chances to make that play, someone's making it 98 times? No. So I don't buy catch probability, and I think that equation is a little difficult, right? It only factors in plays that have been made. I don't think those equations factor in. It's like the plane problem. You know what I mean? Smart people will share that on Twitter all the time, where it's like planes would come back from war and they'd have bullet holes in certain parts of the plane. And they're like, all right, we'll make those parts stronger, not considering the planes that didn't come back got shot elsewhere, right? Like, it's that whole, I don't know if that's a concept or a fallacy or what that is, but the plane problem. It's the same in baseball. It's like the catch probability cannot be that high for balls that are over the center field wall. It just can't be. So I know a lot of people last night saw the home run distances for both Cal Raleigh and Brent Rooker, and they're like, we're gonna mince it down to the decimal point like that. Like, okay, Cal Raleigh advances because his homers went literally less than an inch, less than half an inch farther than a tenth of an inch, or a tenth of, I don't even know what they're measuring here. 40.61 or 470.61 versus 470.53. Like, I don't buy it. I'm sorry. And I'm someone who buys most things. I'm a trusting individual. I'd like to think most people in our world are on the up and up. At least they try to be. Wisco Greaves is Tyler in Massachusetts. Says, I was at the game when Dunn hit a homer on the Mountain Dew deck. Dunn hit some missiles. He, more than anyone else in my lifetime as a Brewers fan, hit home runs at Miller Park at the time that made me just go, holy balls. That just parts where the announcers would go, yeah, you don't see guys hit balls out to that part of the park very often. And I mean, and I think Dunn, it was Dunn for sure. Stairs may have done it a little bit too. I feel like Tomei was another one who would get a hold of a couple of them at Old Miller Park. And you're like, holy crap. A couple of Brewers texts will get caught up here. I'm not going to read one. That one's mean. Look up Vlad or Gary Sheffield. You can hit non-strikes if you're very good. We were talking about plate discipline and swing decisions. It's become a big thing for the Brewers. They don't have a lot of free swingers in their lineup. Churio will expand the zone, and Contreras will too. But for the most part, between Sal Frelick, Bryce Terang, Isaac Collins for sure, Durbin for sure. It was a part of his profile when they acquired him. And Ortiz, in theory, right, swinging at strikes and strikes only. It's a big part of why this team is successful. Now, Vlad, yes, or Gary Sheffield, you can hit non-strikes if you're good. And we were talking Cubs with Austin. PCA is that way. Seiya is kind of a guess hitter. They'll expand the zone and they'll go get pitches. It's just not really how it works. This text is correcting me. Cruz wasn't the runner-up. Caminero was. Yeah, then I guess I was watching at the end and I was misunderstanding what was happening, which I don't really care. Big dumper one, Cal Raleigh. The Brewers looking to Brent Rooker from the A's. I think they had interest last year. Steven Richfield. Maybe. I can look that up. We'll see if the A's are sellers. Mason Miller, their closer, I would imagine, would garner some heavy interest too. John O'Clair says, how's your ankle? I don't want to, this can't become ankle week, but it is broken, at least in a few places, the doctor believes. I got to go back next week because it was too swollen. Which, by the way, how does that work? You're telling me that my foot is too swollen for an x-ray? The x-ray goes through the flesh. John and Eau Claire says Major League Baseball should have a skills competition during All-Star Week. It might be kind of fun, what guys just taking grounders, but then you have guys diving for fly balls in center, and then that's a good way to get hurt. So skills competition, like I'd watch guys try to drop bunts down. I'd watch that. Or just, I saw some tweets last night where it's like, what about a home run derby, but instead of home runs, it's just guys who shorten up with 2 strikes and put the ball out to right field, the Yadier Molina. That'd be interesting too. We'd have a laugh at it. The problem is it's got to be set up and it's got to be packaged as an event, and then it's sponsored, and then there's intros, and then it like loses its kind of silly charm, which I think has maybe started to happen with the home run derby, but I feel like most people watched it and got at least a little bit of entertainment last night, which is about as much as you can ask for. 608-321-1670. Let's take a call. It's the Bill Michaels Show. Who's this?
Hey, you got your Maytag man. It's Zach.
Hey, what's going on, Zach? How you been?
Hey. So the Korean League has the bunt contest. I don't know if you've seen that. They have like targets on the infield.
Okay.
And they get points based on how close they are to the bullseye. That's really fun. But no, I really absolutely despise the stat tracking and the stat casting, because if you're going down to the decimal point, and we're talking the hundredths of an inch or hundredths of a foot, I mean, you're talking about a quarter of an inch. Really, we're going to get into a quarter of an inch is what you're going to get a guy to pass on to the next round by? No, do it as the old school, like you get 10 pitches and that's all you get. And if you hit 5 home runs and the other person only hits 4, you move on. That's the way I want to do it. But I remember a number of years ago, Richie Sexton hit one off of the flagpole on Tal's Hill in Houston when they used to have that absolutely ridiculous bump in center field.
I kind of miss it, but we can debate that at a different time. I kind of like the charm.
I do too.
It's kind of ridiculous, though. Like someone hurts their knee on that. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, you could go back and watch like the Jim Edmonds catches, like falling down on Tal's Hill. But anyway, I remember seeing Richie Sexton hit one off of like the flagpole 3/4 of the way up, and they're like, yeah, it was like 442 feet. And it's like, well, wait a second. How can it be 442 feet when the wall is 440? Like, you're telling me that hit was only going to clear the wall by 2 feet in center field? That thing was going to clear it by 50.
Let's see here. I'm looking at some of these home runs, and this is why I don't, and Zach, I appreciate it. This is why I don't buy into the distances. Like, sometimes they seem right, but it's those types of balls, the balls that hit an obstacle high and early, where it's clear the ball would have gone a lot farther. Like if the ball has a nice looping trajectory and lands in the second deck seats in right field, like, okay, I understand. It's the balls that have their progress like close to the apex, the progress is stopped, and the calculation is, okay, well, how much farther would it have gone? Those numbers never really seem to add up. So I'm looking up Adam Dunn because I'm trying to see if I can find this home run. He hit a 535-foot homer at Great American. I'm trying to find the one specifically at Miller Park. He was with the Dodgers at the time when he hit this. It looks like Great American. I can only find home runs. I don't think it was Matt Stairs. I thought it was Adam Dunn, and I thought it was when he played with the Nationals, but I could be misremembering. In any event, you have a tendency to remember these shots, and these shots are like never, I believe, given their true worth, their true value by these StatCasts, these distance estimation tools. But this is a rant that no one cares about. It came to mind last night when they're breaking down, Cal Raleigh versus Brent Rooker, and they're doing it by the decimal point. It's like, I don't believe that the 470 number is correct, let alone the 1/8 or the 16th of an inch that we're measuring this down to. At the end of the day, it's a home run derby. Who cares? It's not the end of the world. Just gives us an opportunity to fire off some takes, like how we don't believe that the Denver airport is all on the up and up, and that we don't believe that these nerds can measure catch probabilities or home run distances. That's just me, my take. 608-321-1670. More from you on the other side. We're about 15 minutes away from Justin Garcia joining us, the Bucks Radio Network, to recap a little bit of some of the things that both John Horst and Miles Turner had to say in the introductory press conference in Vegas this weekend. But more of your Brewers calls in the meantime next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The roar of racing is back at Road America. IndyCar, Superbikes, Vintage. The 640 acres of land in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin will shake with the roar of engines. Get your tickets now and secure your spot. Camping sites and corporate hospitality space is available as well. Get your season pass, individual race tickets, and all the information at roadamerica.com. That's roadamerica.com. Road America, America's national park of speed.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
How we looking? It's the Bill Michaels Show. Welcome back. Justin Garcia here in about 10 minutes. Bucks Radio Network. I'd say a longtime friend. I've known him for a good number of years. He used to produce for Bill. Bill speaks of both his professionalism and his stylishness. Justin is very well dressed. And that's going to stand out even more in a radio building because in radio, like, you don't have to wear anything. I have a t-shirt and shorts on today, but that's because it's hot as hell. And the walk from my car to the front door to the elevator up the stairs to the studio would have soaked any additional clothing that I have in sweat. So that's why I'm not dressed in a sharp collared shirt today. Otherwise, obviously I totally would be. I'm filling in for Bill. I take that responsibility seriously. Your texting calls on the Brewers still welcome for the next 10 minutes before we kind of pause that for a sec to get to Justin. 608-321-1670. This text, the 920 says, the difference in the length of the 2 home run balls last night was 63/64 or 1/64th, less than 1 inch. Yeah, 160. So let me see. So not only am I mathematically challenged, unless it comes to like some sports stuff, then I'm fine. Here's what I need. I need a context. You know the math class that I actually did the best in high school or college? It was physics. It was physics that I actually like. Physics was hard, and I'm not going to, I didn't get an A++ in physics, but physics was easier to me than any algebra or I did smoke geometry. I was the only one who could do proofs. I wager that's because that's like more problem solving than it is actual math. I sucked at algebra, not geology, geography, over to geometry. I was fine at that, but I liked physics because you weren't just doing math to do math. You actually had to do math to solve a problem. Math was like the tool in the toolbox. It's like, I get to use my hammer. I get to, this requires a quadratic formula. Let me get out my drill. Whereas math, it just seems like you're sitting with your toolbox and you're just futzing with your tools for no reason. Physics, you get to get your hands dirty and apply it. So I am no calculus teacher. I'm no mathematician here. But I understand a 64th of an inch to be quite small because it goes, quarter inch? Well, it would be half inch, quarter inch, 16th of an inch, 64th of an inch. I don't know. I'm not a carpenter. I'm not doing math in my free time, and I'm not practically applying it with a ruler or a square. This is where Andrew Wagner would be up my rear end. I'm hoping to get him on the show. Maybe we can talk about this. As a carpenter and a contractor himself, on top of being an excellent baseball scribe. As we go into the second half of the season, the All-Star game tonight, but then the second half of the season, we talked with Chuck Freimund last hour, and he talked about, the difference between this season and maybe a season like 2021 or 2023, where those teams felt, I think, similarly set up for postseason success. It's like you had great pitching, great defense. Those are the two things that's what works in the postseason, right? I have a little MLB Network audio that I can use to kind of further that point. But what Chuck said, the difference between those years and hopefully this one is that, you could maybe get hot at the right time. In 2021, they ran into the Braves, who were hot, or at least hotter than the Brewers. You ran into a team like the Diamondbacks a couple of years ago, a team that was hot. I don't know that the teams that the Brewers ran into were hot necessarily. I think those teams got hot by beating the Brewers. This is why it's so paramount, I think, for the Brewers to just get in and win a series, because if their idea is keep getting bites at the apple, one of these years it's going to be our turn. Well, if you win that first round series, then you're set up. You're kind of ready to rock and roll. That's why last year was so disappointing. All I wanted was for them to beat the Mets, get some momentum, and then go see if you can beat the Phillies, who were idle for a couple of days. And wouldn't you know it, the Mets beat the Phillies, who were idle for a couple of days. Here's Brian Kenny, MLB Now on MLB Network, talking about the Brewers' identity and their pitching and why that's suited to tournament baseball.
Think about what the Brewers were throwing against the Dodgers last night. Jacob Misiorowski, electric, unhittable stuff, 699, major action on his pitches. Milwaukee went Misiorowski for 6, Jared Koenig, Abner Uribe, and then Trevor McGill. The 4 of them combining to average over 99 miles per hour. The highest team average fastball velo in a game since they began tracking velo officially in 2008. So they've just recently added Misiorowski and Brandon Woodruff, once one of the top pitchers in baseball. He missed all of last year and half of this year with a shoulder injury. Woodruff came back, pitched beautifully. First start back, 6 innings of 2-hit ball against the Marlins, 8 strikeouts, no walks. Adding these 2, it's like adding 2 high-level all-stars at the trade deadline.
Well, first of all, fans, we say that mockingly. It's like, well, they're not going to add anyone. They're just going to say, well, getting Brandon Woodruff and Blake Perkins, that's like adding 2 players at the deadline. Which, yes, it is, but it's not exactly what fans want to hear. Anyways, Brian Kenny, more from him.
So this is now a serious rotation, again, on top of everything else. They already have a true number 1 in Freddie Peralta. He's got a 2.74 ERA in 105 innings pitched. Now, on top of that, Misiorowski, who's a phenom. Brandon Woodruff is back. Carlos Quintana is quite good. Jose Quintana is quite good. The staff is already 5th in park-adjusted ERA among 30 clubs.
And here it comes.
3 potential number 1s right now. Best base running team, top 3 defense. They'll be a tough out in tournament baseball.
So I hear that and I go, oh, you know what, Brian Kenny? You're right. Pitching, defense, base running, these are the things that win in October. And then you think about that for a second, say, wait, we did this in 2021, or we did this in 2023 and it didn't work out in either of those years. Why is this year going to be any different? I do think the offense is different under Pat Murphy. They are emphasizing different things. They become very, very locked in on swing decisions, stealing bases, applying pressure in ways offensively that I don't think the Council Brewers did at the end, for better or for worse. It's just different. That's what I'm saying. I think this team could be possibly better positioned than those other 2, because you go back to 2023, it's like, well, Bryce Trang was a child, and Sal Freed, like this current group of players, just, I don't know that they were ready to cut the mustard. And if Corbin Burns isn't going to dominate, then you're going to be behind the 8 ball, and they were after game 1. 2021, looking back, I just don't know that team was as good as we thought. They had an awesome month of May and June and into July when Willy Adames got there. But after that, it's like, okay, is this team really that good? And then the Braves, of course, have Freddie Freeman, and Rosario gets hot in the postseason. They hit a bunch of bombs, and that's how you win playoff games. So I think that's the Brewers' goal, or it should be one of their goals at the trade deadline. How do we make it a little bit more likely, or how do we better position ourselves to hit timely home runs, big home runs in a close playoff game? And I think that means an outside addition has to happen. And I'm not really interested in a Mark Canha or Carlos Santana level addition. They have those guys already. They have Andrew Vaughn. They have Isaac Collins. He can be your fourth. Blake Perkins. I don't need Mark Canha. Go and get a stick, or don't waste my time. Don't just give up prospects and lottery tickets to bring in a player who we all think will, oh, they're doing something. I'm not interested in doing something. I'm interested in a specific bat that can really crank homers when the team needs them most, which will be in October. The pitching, the defense, the base running, that's already there. Supplement that whole mix with one big stick, one big, beautiful bat, as we were joking last week. I think that really sets this team up in an exciting place. Maybe that is in a better spot than teams of the last couple of years, 21 and 23 specifically. When you said, oh, pitching, defense, base running, they're ready to win in October. And then we get to October and they were not ready to win. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Justin Garcia going to join us to talk about what we saw this weekend with the Bucks. Miles Turner being introduced, John Horst speaking about how that process came to be. We will discuss that next. I love Justin. Bucks Radio Network. We'll be right back.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the Bill Michaels Show. My name is Grant Bills, in for Bill this week. So plenty to discuss with the home run derby last night. I mean, as much as you're going to get from a home run derby, you're not going to build an entire talk show around Cal Raleigh winning. Well, what does this mean for Aaron Judge's legacy? You know, something like that. The baseball equivalent of what does this mean for LeBron's legacy, right? But there were some fun moments last night. It's a little ridiculous that a tiebreaker between Brent Rooker and Cal Raleigh was decided by like a 64th of inch. Like, that's a little ridiculous. But then again, that kind of gives us something fun to talk about, right? Got a couple decimal points. We're not sure. I don't believe the 470 number, let alone the 5 or 6 decimal points after it. Justin Garcia is here, Bucks Radio Network, and I do want to discuss plenty of Bucks things with Justin. Did you watch the Derby last night? Because you're a baseball guy. You're a big baseball guy.
I did not. I don't know if I'd say I'm a big baseball guy.
Let me say this. You attend baseball games. You are a participator in baseball games.
Normally. So I was at the game Saturday, as you can see, I got my 90s jersey on. That was the first game I attended this year.
Oh, really? But you have like a White Sox connection too, don't you?
Yeah, it's tougher to maintain that in recent years.
No one's going to hold that against you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the issue too. Like the Brewers are great. The issue is usually when the season, starts, we're in the midst of it with basketball season, and then it takes a little bit for me to want to go to a stadium or arena after I just spent all of my fall and winter and early spring doing that. And the other two teams that I've rooted for basically all my fandom life are the White Sox, and I get the hatred for them, but they used to be on GN, and I used to love Frank Thomas, so I saw a ton of Sox games and stuck with him. And the A's, because when I first got into baseball, they were in 3 straight World Series, and what kid didn't like home runs? And it's pretty tough to keep up with those two teams the last couple of years.
No kidding. Yeah, you know how to pick them, Justin. At least your Brewers, don't let you down. And now Andrew Vaughn, it's like you can combine some of your baseball loves. So how lucky are you? So I want to talk about Miles Turner, his introductory press conference, because there's some interesting nuggets in there. But before I ask you about some of the specific things that he said, if we're being honest, how much of his decision to come to Milwaukee was just they offered me a ton of money and I was sick of waiting and negotiating with Indiana? Like, is that 80, 90% of it? Do you think?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, they offered him more. And I mean, by all accounts, it seems like it was a take it or leave it offer, which, to be clear, you have to do in those spots. That's the same thing the Bucks did when they traded for Damian Lillard, of just telling the Blazers, here's the information you can give to the Suns of the third player in the deal, this position, this salary range. Otherwise, it gets out of, hey, Grayson Allen was almost traded. Same for Drew Holiday. So in that case, word gets out. Turner takes it back and chops it to the Pacers, and the Bucks actually almost signed Miles Turner. Then it's, wait a minute, how did they do that? And Damian Lillard finds out, wait, I was about to be waived and stretched. So I get that. I found the whole thing interesting because it certainly seems like there's a little bit of bitterness there on the Miles Turner side. And it's funny that you've seen Pacers fans now rush to the defense of the team, and so many think pieces over how much of a villain Miles Turner is and where does this rank with Paul George and Victor Oladipo, which is just ridiculous. But it was interesting hearing some of those things that Turner said, where he's basically stressed and reiterated, reading between the lines here, I don't feel like you properly appreciated me until these last 2 years, and this year especially. And by then it was kind of too late. That he's mentioned several times, some of you weren't with me from day one. Some of you wanted me off this team. He talked about the mental health aspect too, in that, I had to deal with that and seek some help because every year my name would come up in trade discussions. And the Pacers Pacers fans, but we've heard some of it from Kevin Pritchard and Rick Carlisle. They can play the high and mighty card all they want, but I mean, you are the ones that had a chance to avoid this and extend him prior to free agency. Let's also not forget, to Miles Turner's point, it was just a couple of years ago with Miles Turner under contract, the Pacers signed DeAndre Ayton to an offer sheet to replace him. So this does kind of feel like he was looking for a reason to leave. He got it, and this was kind of an F around and find out situation for the Pacers.
I mean, he's he might be the starting point guard if you were to make a starting 5 of players who are always in trade rumors and always seemingly available. Like, he's been doing this forever, and maybe, this offseason for him was, well, finally, like, this is working. This is the year I'm going to come in and they're going to go, we can't wait to do this deal with you. And that must just, that must be.
Well, and I mean, you go back to Game 7 when the reports were out there that, hey, the Pacers are finally willing to go under the tax and they're willing to go upwards of $30 million for Miles Turner. And I know a lot of figures have been floated out. One of the Pacers beat guys I was talking to had said he had heard it was basically around $19 million a year, but there wasn't a guaranteed fourth year. And you go from that figure of $30 million in the tax down to that, where we're talking about shaving off $10 million annually. That's the more interesting case study, is just the ripple effects that 3 Achilles tears had on this entire league this summer.
No, especially in that Eastern Conference, the conference that was already significantly weaker than the other, and it was significantly weaker than the West before Cooper Flagg and why am I spacing on the Andrew Bailey, the second, or not Ace Bailey? Who am I? You know who I'm talking about. Who cares? This isn't a Spurs show. The Rutgers kid that didn't do anything in college. Dylan Harper, thank you very much. The producer that doesn't exist says in my ear. He also talked about the roster, and this is the reason I asked about the money first is because that's what always drives the bus. And then what they say in the press conference is kind of secondary, or maybe even less than secondary. You talked about the roster. It seems like he's excited to play with veterans. I mean, it seems like he did kind of in no uncertain terms say guys who have been around. Gary Trent Jr.'s name kept coming up. Like, do you think there is a real difference between the veterans of the Bucks, the youth of the Pacers? Do you think that was appealing to him, or is that just something that he said?
I'm sure there's something to it. I mean, I think the Bucks certainly showed a strong interest in him. And as we talked about, when you're a player whose name has been up in trade rumors year after year, when you've been, hey, when are you going to extend me, to get that interest and to see somebody batting some eyes at you, that really adds to it. But I mean, also the fact that you get to play with the best player in the conference and a guy that you had to go up against for the last few years during this rivalry, for the last 10 years, for Miles Turner, he's on your team now. And you don't have to worry about that with Giannis, that there's no questions there. I mean, that Pacers system was, hey, we don't really have a best player. It's Halliburton, it's Pascal Siakam. On the right night, it's Turner. And now you walk into this where the expectations are set. This is the guy. This is who everything revolves around. Here's the clarity of your role. We need you to be Brook Lopez, but a little bit better. And here's the pieces that are around you. I think that's a big piece of it too. And I mean, he also kind of confirmed what we all speculated on, of how in the dark was Giannis when he talked about the communication that duo had leading up to this decision.
Oh, that's funny. Another thing that he mentioned, and this is something that you've talked about, was he was impressed at how many players wanted to stay in Milwaukee, between Taurean Prince, Gary Trent Jr., Bobby Portis. These guys, Ryan Rollins even mentioned my name, all wanted to come back. Yeah. And you've said on this show, or on the evening show with me in the past, none of those guys ever come back if Giannis isn't there. So you really start to see the levels of importance of keeping Giannis, not just because he's an amazing player and he helps you win basketball games, but his presence leads to this, which leads to that, which can have all of these ripple effects, like Miles Turner maybe signing in Milwaukee.
Yeah, and I mean, that to me is the most remarkable part of this offseason, is not just Miles Turner, but I mean, think about all the moving parts that John Horst had to work around to bring back together. And now you can say, well, the John Horst special, it's probably termed as now, in the 1+1, you're going to have to deal with a lot of that next year, probably. But you put together a strong year this year. You got Miles Turner for the next couple of years. A strong year increases the chance we don't hear quite as much of the Giannis chatter. I don't think we're ever not going to hear it any year go forward. That you feel like you're in a good spot there. But just, I think we are all kind of ready for, among the big name free agents, because it was just 4 or 5 guys the Bucks had under contract coming into this season. And one of those was Dame. I think we were all anticipating, of the big group, probably 2 of them are gone. Maybe you're choosing between Kevin Porter Jr. and Gary Trent Jr. I know there was a lot of optimism when things started of, well, you'll split the taxpayer with them. And then you start to see other projections of maybe one of those guys is going to get more. But for that to not happen, to keep all those guys, to make that swing, to bring in Miles Turner, to even make smaller moves too, like Gary Harris is perfectly fine regular season depth. And it does prompt a different discussion of, are they maybe working on something else since they're pretty loaded at the 2 guard spot now? Cole Anthony was a guy that from the onset, when that trade happened to the Grizzlies, I was talking with a few other people, and we all kind of said, man, if he gets bought out, that would be a great fit for the Bucks. And you were thinking that was kind of what your ceiling was in free agency. So in a matter of 12 months, you look at how much this roster has been reshaped by John Horst, and maybe it's not the best in the league. I still think, in fairness, you can't say the Bucks are in the inner circle of title contenders, but I do think they're better than they were a season ago. And as long as you got Giannis in a wide open conference, you've put yourself in the position to enter that conversation that we talked about. This is an old team. They play slow. And now in the blink of an eye, Giannis, for all intents and purposes, is the oldest player on the team now. They've gotten younger and more athletic, and they brought in more two-way players where it's not just, well, we have to play this one certain way. You can play multiple ways now. So it's really been a remarkable job by John Horst to transform this thing on the fly with very limited resources.
Do you think Giannis learned any lessons from the Dame era about maybe from time to time playing a brand of basketball that is a little bit more team-centric and not, I'm going to get my stats, it's going to go through me, which works because he's probably the second best player in the world. But do you think there are any lessons learned, like if we're going to win another title and it's not just the Giannis and company show, maybe I could set some more screens, or maybe I could do this, that, or the other thing. Do you think that's something that he considers or is thinking about post-Dame?
So I think if there's a lesson to be learned, and I think you and I talked about this off the air, it's this. For all the chatter and all the wish casting, and I know I talked about this with our friend Bart a couple of weeks ago of what's the biggest problem with the league. We talked about TV coverage and everything else. To me, I think it's the discourse around the league right now is the biggest problem that they are fighting, because everything is wish casting trades and putting players onto different teams and building these super teams. And, well, this didn't work. This player needs to go here. This player needs to ask for a trade. We're constantly hyping up rookies to, like, how much talk has there been around summer league of, I heard one of my friends on a national podcast talking about how Cooper Flagg completely controlled and dominated the game. And I look at his stat sheet and just think, guys, we don't have to do this.
Yeah.
He shot 30% against future UPS drivers. Like, he can be good, but it's just not right now. This isn't the setting to look for it at. So I think that's the biggest problem, that we're constantly doing this, and rings culture too is, we're as guilty as anyone in the media when players complain about that. And I think that's the bigger lesson to be learned for Giannis is, everybody wants to place you. Everybody outside of Milwaukee wants to place you somewhere else on a different team. But there's so many challenges with this CBA, because wherever Giannis goes, there's another very good player on the team. You're eventually right back in the same spot you are in Milwaukee with the contract structure. And, well, how much flexibility do you have? But also, every single player at Giannis's level has an ego. There's really only Kevin Durant, and I don't mean it as a knock on him, but he's the only guy that was kind of willing to say, okay, I'll jump to somebody else's team to chase a ring here. And he left very dissatisfied with that experience.
Which is probably partly our fault, because we finally, he let
we said it doesn't count. Yeah, well,
and then we're like, well, you gotta lead the way, which he doesn't have to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's up to us to react, but it's almost like Kevin Durant has kind of moved his career reacting based on what people like us say.
But that's the lesson for Giannis is, and again, there's no indication that Giannis is saying, I want to be traded or go somewhere else, or even contemplating that, despite the Giannis is open to yada, yada, yada reports that were out there, and then kind of still there, even though we've started to learn more and more that kind of goes against that. And, oh, by the way, Giannis has never been the type to share that information with outsiders. So that's the funniest part whenever any of that comes out. But that's the lesson to me to be learned is, look, the grass isn't always greener, as corny as the phrase is. Like, you go somewhere else. You go to San Antonio, let's say. You're joining Victor Wembanyama's team. That's the next star. You go to Houston. And if KD is still there, as I saw some others point that, well, they could still get Giannis. I mean, then we're back in that cap situation, and it's a super team, right? But if it doesn't work out, guess who's getting blamed for it? I mean, to a lesser extent, Giannis didn't catch any blame, and I'm not saying he's deserving or the other player we'll name is deserving, but the conversation around the Bucks with this 2-year experiment that didn't work, it was more Dame's fault than Giannis's fault, is what the impression of Bucks fans and everyone else has.
That's how it's going to be remembered. Yeah,
that's what's going to stick to Giannis. To anywhere else that he would go to is you jump to this team, it doesn't work out. Well, I guess he wasn't good enough, or it was his fault, and we got to pivot to something else. So that, especially with how we've seen the difficulties of constructing rosters, to me is the bigger thing to hold on to, and make sure you keep an eye on how this did not work and what the views are, because that's what sticks to you if you go somewhere else, even if it's the right situation and a better fit.
Yeah, and especially if Giannis is on the fence, like, well, I could go or I couldn't go. And it seems like a lot of former players have come out and said, hey, man, just stay. Like, I know you're hearing pressure for this or that. And I think there are lots of players who look back at their career and said, oh, I was so hot and cocky. And I thought if I went here and then I was just chasing, the rest of my career. Of course, we always look back on, what we used to have. Like, we always missed that old apartment when our life was so much simpler. So I'm sure that's part of it too. But I really liked that answer. Very contemplative from you, Justin. I'm not surprised at all. That was.
I prefer dynasties. That's one of my bigger hangups with this current CBA. I prefer dynasties because it feels like you accomplished something when you beat that team. And I don't want to take away from winning chip, because look, the Bucks won a championship in this quasi era. It was starting to move into that. But for me, the same applies to player movement. And it was kind of heartening to hear that some of the chatter around Summer League is players acknowledging, look, there's too much player movement now. We complained before that there wasn't enough. Now we've kind of reached the nadir where there's way, way too much of it. But I would prefer that with my teams as well. For guys, it doesn't have to be every superstar, but for guys to stick with one team, because the whole like, well, how good was his career really if he only won one ring? Like, that's the other thing that's come up of Giannis stays in Milwaukee and only wins one. It's not a failure, but then he's in the Dirk Nowitzki discussion. Like, okay, so he's still one of the greatest players. So Karl Malone and Charles Barkley and John Stockton and Patrick Ewing had terrible careers.
Yeah. And Dirk, one of the more meaningful rings in my lifetime, right?
Yeah.
Not that they're all meaningful on some level, but this is good. We will discuss later. Continue to enjoy Summer League and the total treat of a television product that is. And we'll talk again soon, Justin. I gotta go. Appreciate it.
Sounds good. See you.
Justin Garcia, appreciate his time. He is uber generous between this show and my show in the evening. We got to take a break. I'm a little bit late. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 3 next.
Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
You got to hit it, make it, rock it, put it in the pocket. Hit it, make it, rock it, put it in the pocket.
It's the Bill Michaels Show. We got one more hour left, and I love how the show is shaping up. Here's what's going to happen, okay? Bookmarking and going through some different NFL headlines for the entire show. New player signed a contract with the Chiefs. We can talk about that. Jeremy Fowler is feeding families with surveys this week, asking around the league to rank players at different positions. We'll get into that. And an unhappy player in Washington, Terry McLaurin, wants a new deal, hasn't got one yet, publicly voicing his frustration. I think there's a back ranking too. So final hour, I'll take your calls on the Brewers if you want to keep that going, or any Bucks follow-up to that conversation we just had with Justin. But what I really want to do is hit the NFL issue. Headlines, and I think most of them, per usual, can be tied back to the Green Bay Packers. That's coming up. First, we'll get a 2-minute update from Zach Heilprin, and then we'll hit it hot and heavy the final hour.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update. You can expect to see Jacob Mizrowski for an inning tonight. That was the word from National League manager Dave Roberts yesterday when discussing the rookie pitcher. Mizrowski is at his first All-Star game, and he's there after just 5 starts. That has drawn some criticism from fellow players and could be awkward for Mizrowski, but he says that hasn't been the case.
They're not upset with me, so, I mean, there's nothing I did, so they were all nice to me. Clubhouse has been good, so I'm not... No, nothing.
He also admitted he wasn't expecting the kind of backlash his selections received.
No, I mean, I think it was just one of those things that that's the way it happened. And, it's not really anything I've done. And I'm not going to say no to MLB about jumping to the game. So it is what it is.
Again, the All-Star game in Atlanta is tonight, along with Mizrowski. The Brewers also have pitchers Freddie Peralta and Trevor McGill, though only Mizrowski and McGill are eligible to pitch tonight. After tonight, players will get a couple more days off before opening up the second half of the season on Friday in L.A. against the Dodgers. A trip to Seattle will follow for the crew, who won 7 straight going into break, just 1 game back of the Cubs in the NL Central.
ABC of Wisconsin is the largest apprenticeship program in the state, with more than 2,000 active apprentices in 12 different skilled trades. In the ABC Apprenticeship Program, you earn while you learn on the job, get paid to go to class, and graduate with a job in your craft, but without the huge college debt. Explore 12 different construction trades in one spot at buildyourcareerwi.org, or just search online for ABC of Wisconsin.
Well, the Packers will be on the field 8 days from now for the first practice of training camp. The team's rookies will actually report this coming Friday. And Big Ten Media Days out in Las Vegas get going next Tuesday. Wisconsin coach Luke Fickell and 3 players, including quarterback Billy Edwards Jr., will face the media on Wednesday. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
It's the Bill Michaels Show, the final hour. Day 2 without Bill. Are we going through withdrawals yet? Shaking, night sweats. I hope you are at least tolerating me filling in for Bill. He'll be back on Monday. He's down at the lake house in Indiana. So if you want Bill content, I see him posting some vacation pictures and videos on Facebook page and Twitter at or it's Bill_Michaels. His email is thebillmichaels@gmail.com. Send him well wishes on his vacation. Or just send him sports topic questions. I'm sure he'll get a kick out of that. I think Zach Heilprin is in the building. He's in his office over there. I just talked to him. I said, hey, if you want to pop in, got a wide open final hour of the show. We can BS a little bit about Big Ten Media Days, which are coming up next week in Las Vegas. Kate has really tried to put the full court press on to go along. Kate Gunderson. So I kind of want to ask Zach at the very least about that. A couple of NFL headlines that I want to talk about, though. So Trey Smith just signed a big-ass new deal with the Chiefs today. That's been reported by many. I think Diana Rossini had some details talking about how there were deadlines that kind of made this happen and got this done. He is now set to make 4 years, $94 million and $70 million, and of it is guaranteed. So as with most contracts, like your team signs a player and you're like, ooh, that's a lot. Well, give it a year or two. It won't be a lot anymore. I feel the same way about Aaron Banks at left guard. Still jarring to see the Packers invest that much money in a free agent offensive lineman. It's just typically not what they do. It's hardly ever what they do. Typically, their guys get old and go sign big deals elsewhere. Those deals typically don't age well, whether it's Bulaga or Lindsley or, whoever, offensive linemen that have moved on to get one last big money deal that the Packers weren't willing to give him. But Trey Smith gets $70 million guaranteed. I think Nate Banks' contract was like 80-some total. And I don't know exactly how much guarantees, but not 70 million. So the Chiefs get that done. Another headline that I saw, and this is interesting to me. I think there's a Packers connection here. Terry McLaurin is speaking with Washington media today, and JP Finley, who is on their Odyssey station out there. 106.7 The Fan. We've had Toby Altizer on before. He, when before the conference championship games last year, before Lions Commanders. I remember having him on. Here's 20 seconds of audio. If you're watching on the live stream, I'm sorry you won't be able to hear this just because of the way the stream is set up. So our radio audience will hear this, and then I will pass along. It's just a 20-second clip. I'll pass along the comments so you on the live stream, you can be caught up as well. But this is Terry McLaurin talking about his lack of a new contract. He's been very clear that he wants a new deal. Here's 20 seconds of him.
Yeah, I've been pretty frustrated. I'm not going to lie. Everything that has transpired up until this point is just been disappointing and frustrating. I've wanted to continue my career here. I've created my life here. My wife and I have bought our first home here. So this has been somewhere where I've always wanted to be.
So about his situation, he said, I'm pretty frustrated. I'm not going to lie. This whole process has been frustrating and disappointing. This is where I want to be. This is where we want to stay. So he's very clearly, publicly, talking about his frustrations with the team, their lack of urgency on a new contract, and the lack of getting anything done. He was asked if he's going to show up to training camp next week without a new deal. He says, I don't know, which is probably a smart answer. Don't say one way or another. You don't need to right now. A lot can change. A lot can change in a week. I see this, and it's just such a precautionary tale for the Packers. And I think the Packers have two players who I would extend right now, or I do their contracts right now. Player that I'd extend is Zach Tom. And I would do it without hesitating. I would do it in the blink of an eye. I'm almost annoyed that it hasn't been done yet. I think that should be done before training camp begins. Not on day 2 or 3. If he's holding in, do it now. I want him hitting the ground running with the new contract in training camp. That's easy. You want to take a wait-and-see approach with other players? Like Dobbs or Jaden Reed, who I know is a couple years younger. Okay, fine. I think Zach Tom is the one player on this roster who's a clear-cut, extension-worthy player right now without ever playing another snap. Now, you want to him and haw about giving him a second big contract? Fine. That's fine. In 3 or 4 years, you want to revisit and see if you can upgrade right tackle? Fine. But right now, I would sign that player tonight. I would sign it last night. I would have signed it last week. I'd have it done already. And what I feel like will probably happen is it'll happen halfway through training camp. And we'll see if Zach Tom actually shows up and wants to participate. We have nothing indicating that he won't. Now, Elton Jenkins is the other. Elton Jenkins, I don't know that he'll practice without a new contract. He didn't show up to the non-mandatory stuff. Now, training camp is mandatory, but what he could do is show up and then hold in, meaning like, I got a tweak in my neck. I got a hitch in my get-along. Can't practice. Kind of like Jordan Love did last year while the contract gets worked out. That's just so silly to me. That's so silly to me. If the Packers are intent on extending Zach Tom, never a doubt we're going to do it, then do it faster. if the Packers are going to fix or do Elgton Jenkins' contract, give him some more guaranteed money now, give him a little bit more security and length of contract so he doesn't have to be a cap casualty next year by default, which the player and his representation can see coming, then do it now. Don't wait until we're a week into training camp and he's there, but he's not practicing, so then he's behind, and especially with the center, he's snapping the ball to Jordan Love. I just don't understand why teams do this. Terry McLaurin, you'd be hard-pressed to find a player with a higher approval rating around the league, but also in his own fan base. Like, look, if this is Romeo Doubs or Jaden Reed, like, I'm pretty frustrated. I don't know if I'll come to camp without a new deal. I'd say, okay, buddy, go ahead, eat the fine, I guess. Let Matthew Golden get those reps. Let Savion Williams take those reps. Let Dontavian Wicks take those reps. I wouldn't be bent out of shape about it. Jaden Reed has not earned the right to sit there before training camp and say, I won't practice without a new deal. He hasn't earned that. Neither is Romeo Doubs or Christian Watts or any of those guys. I think Elgton Jenkins has. And while I don't expect Zach Tom to hold out or even to hold in, I think he's earned it too. Terry McLaurin is the definition of a player who has earned this. Right? He's been a stud. And you're coming off a great season where Terry McLaurin finally has a guy to throw him a deep ball. We saw it over and over last season with Jaden Daniels. I don't understand why teams do this. The Cowboys do it because they're the Cowboys. We were going to pay Dak and CeeDee Lamb all along. Well, then why'd you wait until like 12 hours before week 1? Like, if you were always going to do it, then why wait so long? And I understand there's details to be hashed out and worked through. I get it. But like, what have you been doing all summer? Russ Ball and Brian Gutekunst, like, if Zach Tom was always getting an extension and you were always going to fix if you're always going to fix Elgton Jenkins' contract, why are we waiting? Get it done so everyone can hit the ground running day one in training camp. No distractions, nobody sitting out, nobody holding out. Just, I don't understand. And maybe I don't appreciate the complexities and everything that goes into it. I just think you got all summer to get it done. Knock it out. I don't want this flowing into training camp. I see teams step on this rake every fall, and it mucks things up. It really does. 608-321-1670. Let's take a call. It's the Bill Michaels Show. Who's this? Hello? Hello?
Here. Hello?
Hello. Yes. Who's this?
It's Z and the D.
Hey, what's going on, Z?
I cannot agree with you 100% more. You hit all dots and T's on that point right there. I was going to bring up the Cowboys situation, but you'd really want to bring in both of these guys and get them all shirted up because they are so versatile. You got both players can both play center. Yep. They can both play guard and both can play tackle. I mean, these are the guys that are cornerstone pieces. Now, Jenkins obviously a little bit older with a little bit of injury history. Tom with last year with a little bit of injury, but these are guys that you want shirted up right from day one, get it situated. This is why you pay an agent. Lock in the agent, have his number on speed dial, just be on a 2-hour Zoom call, whatever it takes, get the numbers figured out. And you want to do it now, just like how you said with the Cowboys. You don't want to wait until training camp happens around because who knows? There could be 2 to 3 other centers and guards that get contract extension, then his value goes up because those guys could be lower than him.
Yeah, and it mucks things up. You have someone sitting on the sideline, especially Elgton Jenkins. He's snapping the ball to Jordan Love every play. I want him snapping the ball to Jordan Love all throughout camp. Yeah. And again, look, if they want to play hardball with Jenkins and force him to play on this current deal as it stands, okay. I guess I don't really know if I have an opinion on that one way or another. But again, if it's assumed they're doing Elgton Jenkins' contract, they're extending Zach Tom, do it now. Why wait? Because then those guys miss reps, and that always seems to linger, and it becomes a thing, and it just doesn't have to.
Exactly. I think you hit it on the dot, and you're doing a great job. Keep it up, big guy, and get that ankle a little bit better.
I appreciate that. That's Z and the D, everybody. Appreciate the call. 608-321-1670. This text, I assume, is on the subject matter. Just says, relax in all caps. I feel like I'm not screaming too loudly here. I just don't get it. I don't get why teams step on this rake. The Cowboys are first and foremost of this group. It's like they just wait as long as possible to the point where they're spending more. Like, you extend guys early, you save money. It's a win-win. They get their money earlier. They get their future insured, their generational wealth coming in, and they can start to plan. And the team saves money because that deal will age better. Like Dak Prescott, it's like the Cowboys went out of their way to pay as much as possible for CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, while hampering their current cap flexibility. The Cowboys had no money to go out and get someone to play running back for them last year. Had they extended Dak and CeeDee Lamb early, they would have been able to do that. Because when you sign an extension early, you can set the money up in a way to give you, if you need flexibility now, you can set it up to be flexible now. Or if you don't need flexibility now, you can take a bunch of money on the front end and be flexible later. You are in control, right? When you sign a player early, you're in control of the situation. When you wait, you start to lose some of that control. And the price goes up with every passing day just because other guys get their deals, other guys get their contracts, and that money just keeps going up and up. I understand last year that it took a little bit to get things settled with Jordan Love just because that was such a unique situation. First of all, quarterbacks are just a bigger deal, and there's more in those contracts. But Jordan Love had started for 2 years. The first year was, at this point, he had started for 1. And that first year was kind of a tale of 2 seasons. The first half was pretty bad, and then he set fire to the league in the second half. They go, how do you make that contract? I understand why that took a little bit of time. I get it completely. Zach Tom, that's easy. High-level right tackle, versatile. Everybody loves him. Sign it. Let the ink dry. Be ready for training camp day 1. I don't understand that one. And this could easily happen, by the way. The Packers could sign Zach Tom tomorrow, and then I won't be frustrated anymore. I'm not saying that the Packers are going to drag their feet. I'm saying I don't want them to drag their feet like so many teams do, like the Bengals. What are the Bengals doing with Shamar Stewart and Trey Hendrickson? Like, are they just hoping that these players forget that they want their contracts? That's just Trey. He'll eventually just come in. Really? Because that was the strategy in non-mandatory minicamp and in OTAs. And now you're just going to go into training camp, even though he said, I won't play on this deal. This deal is not enough. And you're like, yeah, he says that now, but like, it's just a little silly. Be proactive, not reactive. Be early, never late. Gives you more financial flexibility. It's always going to save you money in the long term. And I don't even want to say that it's a distraction. I don't think it's a distraction to have a hold in at training camp. It's just something that's not necessary. It's a self-inflicted barrier to having one of your more important players on the practice field in training camp, not in OTAs or in rookie mini camps, which is fine. It's late July. We're getting close to the season. I want those guys on the field. Now, if they're injured or something, like sometimes you can't help it. You can help a contract extension, again, that you're going to sign anyway. And I believe that they are going to sign those contract extensions anyway. So just do it now. 608-321-1670. Let's take another call on this. This is the Bill Michaels Show. Who's this?
Hey, it's Eric from Green Bay.
Hey, Eric. What's going on?
Well, by the Anthony Belton second-round offensive lineman draft pick, that tells me one of the two isn't getting re-signed.
Okay.
Which I'm not a fan of because you got to reward these guys that, show up to play every day. And what's the point of drafting and, getting these guys to be top players if you're not going to re-sign? It's one thing if you can't afford a guy, but I think they just want to get paid their value. With Jenkins, it's like just give him, top 25% guard money if that's what he's wanting. But yeah, that's my guess. When we take an offensive lineman in the second round after just signing, Banks from San Francisco, one of these guys is not going to get paid, and that's too bad.
So, and I don't know who it is. That's a good call, Eric. I appreciate you listening up in WDUZ in Green Bay. I'm not sure what to make of that Anthony Belton pick. You would then have to think, right? Like you would have to think that they're planning on not re-signing all of their offensive linemen. And I've brought this up on my show. It's like, well, you can't spend a first-round pick on Jordan Morgan, a second-round pick on Anthony Belton, and then re-sign Walker, sign Banks, give money to Elton Jenkins, and then sign Zach Tom. Then you're basically saying we want Jordan Morgan, Anthony Belton, and Sean Ryan to compete for right tackle. That's just not good return on investment, in my opinion, at least. So I don't know. I think Elton Jenkins realizes the Packers, I think ideally what the Packers would like is play Elton Jenkins this year on this contract and then move off of him to save money next year and then slide in one of their younger guys. But Elton Jenkins knows that, and his representation knows that, and they would like to prevent that from happening. So the Packers either need to, give Elton Jenkins what he wants, which I don't think is ridiculous. I don't think he wants a massive payday. Playing center, he's already making top center money because he's getting paid like tackle guard hybrid money. You just need to lock up a little bit future security. And at center, he should age a little bit better anyway. So you should feel better about that than if he was playing guard or tackle. 608-321-1670. It's the Bill Michaels Show. Who's this?
Gerald from Fond du Lac.
Hey, Gerald, what's going on?
Not much. How are you doing, Grant?
I'm doing good. What's on your mind?
All right. You are holding up well without Bill.
I'm trying.
Doing great. Couple things that I'm going to throw out. One on LVN, one on the Brewers.
Okay.
So real quick on the Lucas Van Ness. I just think that it's a huge year for him, but I also have a lot of confidence because when he came out, he was really young. He was really raw. And everybody said this is going to be a couple-year project. Well, that couple years is up. So now I think it's just time for all that talent, and the years of buildup that we needed for him. I just think it's time, I know a lot of the discussion has been, well, what has he shown? But we kind of knew that when he came in. It's like he wasn't going to show much for a couple of years because he wasn't ready to. I think this, if there's going to be the time for it, I think it's this year. So I'm actually pretty looking forward to seeing what he does.
All right.
And then my thought on the Brewers, I know it's kind of the unpopular take, and everybody's like, well, we need the bat. I think this team is really built to win in the playoffs. Everybody likes to watch home runs, but it's a great quote that home runs are thrown. And once you get to the playoffs, it's all good pitchers who don't throw mistakes.
Sure.
This team is kind of built to handle good pitching. We've seen they've beaten good pitchers, and they hit around good pitchers. I don't know if it's, if it's a big enough mark against them, but the Brewers might have just cost Skeens the Cy Young when they smashed them up a little bit,
Well, I don't know about the Cy Young, Gerald. That's a good call. I think you're right in that this team knows how to peck away at Kershaw or Skeens or Sonny Gray. Like, they're not just going to go up there and swing big and, well, what are you going to do at Skeens? It's like this team does control their own destiny or try to offensively, even against the best pitching, a little bit more than your average team, which is great. So I hope that this team can dig in and do some things offensively that maybe the 2023 team, the 2021, again, those teams built on pitching and defense, teams that are built to succeed in the postseason. This is Brian Kenny, MLB Network, one more time.
3 potential number ones right now. Best base running team, top 3 defense. They'll be a tough out in tournament baseball.
So that idea, I think one home run bat in the mix on top of what they have really, really brings this picture together. Because you do need home runs to win in the playoffs. Look at Pete Alonso. Look at what the Diamondbacks did to the Brewers a couple years ago. Look at what, all the teams that have beaten the Brewers, what have they done? They've come up with timely home runs because it is hard to string rallies together. And I like that the Brewers have that in their toolbox. I just can't be the only tool in there. I think that gets you in trouble. Let's take a break here. 3 minutes. We'll come back, continue the Bill Michaels Show next.
Sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Truck drivers, it's time to take your skills to a company that invests in your safety and comfort. Schneider's newer and well-maintained equipment keeps drivers moving and making money. Our trucks are spec'd with the latest safety and comfort features that drivers want. Plus, we offer a huge selection of driving jobs so you can find a job with the home time and schedule you've been looking for. Upgrade to a better driving job today. Search jobs near you and apply now at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
For windows with the strongest resilience, you need the Pella Experience.
The biggest thing for us in the Experience Center was a collaboration with the team. We were able to come in and sit down and go over a bunch of different options, and it wasn't just us dictating what we wanted.
They asked us things we didn't even know or think about, from colors to hardware, and because of that, we were able to get the best possible look for our home.
Hi, I'm Gina Della from Pella. Just like Jim and Haley, you too can see, feel, open, close, and compare dozens of window and door options from 7 different Pella lines, side by side, at our Pella Experience Center in Brookfield. And today is a great day to stop by because right now you can get 0% interest for up to 5 years. The Pella Experience Center is on Blue Mountain Road, kitty corner to delicious Pops. With a range of affordable options and products assembled in the USA, get the look you want at a price you can afford. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply. 7/31/2025.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the final hour of the Bill Michaels Show. A couple NFL takes. This Terry McLaurin situation, if that's what you can call it, it just interests me because I think it's a rake that lots of NFL teams step on. You know, like they're probably going to extend him. So why do you let it get to this point? And I think of the Packers, like you're probably going to extend Zach Tom. And I would bet they'll do whatever Elton Jenkins needs done to get him to play center this year and maybe next. So just do it. Like, don't let this drag out into training camp. It becomes a whole thing. Not here to discuss training camp, but Big Ten Media Day is now about a week away. Zach Heilprin is here. You're ready to embark on Las Vegas?
I mean, we can talk NFL training camp if you'd like. I mean, that's.
Do you have a take on? Well, let's pause. Let's talk about that thing that I was just saying for a minute. Then,
yeah, pay Zach Tom. I assume you're going to, right? Like you didn't draft Anthony Belton to play right tackle, right? Like in Jordan. Morgan as well. Like
I'm not sure why they drafted either one of those guys. I don't know.
Well, and we'll see if Anthony Belton actually shows up because he's among the second rounders has not signed yet. which is a whole bunch of them. Though one of them did get a guaranteed contract, which is kind of going to screw everybody else over. But
the owners aren't going to like that one.
Right, Terry McLaurin, Washington. I feel like since the ownership change has done everything right. This feels a little off. So pay the man his money.
I just look over my my career of being on the radio every day. You give a lot of opinions, and I look back sometimes. I'm like, why was I wish I wouldn't have been so hot and bothered about that. I look back at the Corbin Burns situation in arbitration. I'm like, why was I so like? Corbin Burns is a big boy. These players are big boys. All right, I'm not. I understand that, and I want the organizations to wield power and leverage because I think when it's balanced, it's best. And some leagues get a little bit too far one way or the other. I just don't understand. Like, you're going to extend Terry McLaurin. The Packers should extend Zach Tom. And yet we see so many of these teams let it bleed into training camp. And for what? You had all summer. Like, that would be my goal. If I was running a team, I'd be like, okay, are we going to extend these guys? I want it done by day one of training camp because I don't want this to be a thing.
The difference, obviously, here is Terry McLaurin is clearly upset, and he plays a position where you might have a little bit of an ego, a little bit of a diva.
But he's never been known as one of those guys.
He's from Ohio State. So, I mean, come on.
Okay.
What do you mean he's never been known as one of those guys?
He's never been.
He didn't have a quarterback before this past year.
Yeah. All the more reason that it's clear that, like, he's never been Steph Diggs or AJ Brown. He could be thinking it or privately saying it, but if you don't wear it on the sideline and at the game, like, that's good enough for me. You can say whatever you want behind closed doors.
What is Romeo Doubs?
That's an interesting one.
So, either way, with McLaurin, you're eventually going to pay him. The thing with Zach Thomas, he still showed up to everything.
Yeah, like
there's a difference between the two guys.
I'm not saying that he's not going to show up, but like, is he going to hold in?
No, I don't think he will.
Do you think Elton Jenkins would?
I think
he's the guy who's switching positions and snapping the ball to Jordan Love every play.
Right, but he's also a guy that's played the position before, played it in college. Like it's not a big deal for him.
I understand, but still, it's a change.
It's a significant change when you did not show up to any of the offseason program outside of the mandatory minicamp, and you didn't do anything in the mandatory minicamp because you were working through something, according to Brian Gutekunst. And we know what he was working through. He's working through not wanting to be out there until he gets it. So I could see him holding it.
All right. That one's concerning. I just don't want to deal with any of this. It gives us something to talk about on the radio, but it's not really that juicy of a topic. Like when Jordan Love was holding in, it's like, well, probably by Wednesday, for sure Thursday. And then a week goes by and you keep saying days until it eventually happens. It's a big waste of time.
Agreed.
Big Ten Media Days next week. Kate's putting on a full court press to try to go, I hear.
Yeah, that did not work out well for her. Well, I mean, again, if she would have asked me last week before the credential period had ended, I would have been like, yeah, for sure.
Wow. She's got to be kicking herself.
Well, I feel like I made it clear that I was going to Vegas for media days. Like I'm pretty sure everybody knew that here. I know everybody knew it here. So yeah, it was a little bit of a fumble on her part. However, she's also like then leaving. Like she'd be getting back here on a Thursday, sometime on a Thursday morning, and then getting back on a plane to go to Seattle for Morgan Wallen that
weekend. Why is she going to Seattle?
Morgan Wallen. But either way,
he was just here.
And she went to it, and now her and mom are going out there.
That's cool.
I don't want to get.
I won't judge that. That's cool.
Not getting into her business, but that's a tough turnaround.
It's never stopped her before. She could just stay out there and then go straight to. Well, maybe she's traveling with her mom and you're switching around airfare.
Yeah,
that does not bother her though. She'll go to
she's all
Beloit, Milwaukee.
She's like honestly like you throw it back the Energizer Bunny. Like she just never.
She is.
It's crazy that way. But either way, it didn't work out for her. Waiting on this one. But it would have been, it's like a perfect opportunity for her. Like that'd be right in her wheelhouse with all the different things you could do with social media and pictures and all the good stuff you can do at media days. It's great for that. I see like social media types out there a ton. And I'm not saying that's all she is. I'm just saying she's really good at social media.
She's great at it.
So that would have been great for us. As well, but
you're great at social media too. Don't sell yourself short now.
She's really good at the video aspect of it. And just in general, but like her and Kaylin and everybody here that does a great job with that that's not necessarily my wheelhouse.
I'm getting frustrated with Twitter. I feel like I'm just showing up and like consistently delivering the goods with my tweets, and my follower count is not. I keep saying I get so many likes, I get no love. Yeah. I don't understand it. It's whatever.
Have you started your Blue Sky account?
I have a Blue Sky, but
and a Threads account too.
Well, once upon a time, because you have to.
Yeah, Threads actually has taken off again.
Oh, good, great.
It's getting like almost as many monthly views as Twitter.
Those people might actually be real, unlike a lot of the people on Twitter.
Yeah.
Big Ten Media Days. So which Badger is going to be there? Billy Edwards Jr.?
Billy Edwards Jr., quarterback's going to be there.
Mhm.
Ricardo Hallman,
Mhm.
the cornerback, and Jake Renfro, the center.
Speaking of corners, real quick, not to sidetrack, do we know if we still don't know if Najir Forkering is able to play?
He's able to play until he's not.
Jesus.
That case is still like it's still in the courts right now. And we'll see. Wisconsin is approaching it as if he's going to play, but all it takes is one judge to be like, or the judge. I think there's 3 judges that could be like, well, no. But when it comes to legal stuff and like diving into it, that is not my forte.
Yeah.
Our good friend Colton Bartholomew is much better at it than me.
Which I tried to recruit to go to a baseball game on Sunday. He is preparing for your visit out to Las Vegas.
Oh,
so
we're hitting the town Tuesday night for sure.
Oh, are you really?
Yes.
How often do you go to Vegas? You been?
It's been a while. I went to Vegas for the bowl game a couple years ago.
Oh, that's right.
In 2021.
Was that at Allegiant?
Yep.
Was it just like half empty in there? That had to be weird.
I mean, it seems like maybe 40,000, 45,000.
Oh,
It wasn't
okay,
too
I
bad.
guess.
It was actually a really good game.
Well,
too.
I guess if like you're in Vegas, it's like there's a bowl game going on, we might as well. And Wisconsin people travel, I guess. It's a
Yeah,
reason to go.
absolutely. It was a good game. In terms of like going there, went to 3 bachelor parties there from like 2008, 2010, and I think 2012.
Good God.
Yeah.
It's a little much.
3 different buddies, all the same friend group too, went to Vegas for their bachelor party.
So you just got to go back and follow it up. So when you're out there for the week, when you go around to bars and casinos, you're going to see, big wigs in the Big Ten, folks in athletic departments. I'm
going to be there for like 36 hours.
You can accomplish a lot in 36 hours.
So I'm getting there. I'm getting there like 8:45 Tuesday morning.
Mhm.
There's 6 teams on that first day,
Mhm.
right? And then we'll do whatever we do Tuesday night. And then Wednesday is when Wisconsin's there, and we'll hit up and hopefully like Chris McIntosh and also all the other people that are going to be there. We'll get them on and do interviews and that kind of stuff. And then I'm heading to the airport and going on the red eye at 12:40.
God, you're built different.
So I don't know that I'm going to be able to spend a lot of time getting around to all the different casinos. I don't know what I'm going to do Wednesday night. Wednesday night maybe that.
Nice.
Other than I'll be working, but then
of course
before going to the airport, like what am I going to do till like from like 9 to 11 or something?
Will
like that.
PJ Fleck be on the camp? Are you going to try to get an interview
It's
with PJ
not
Fleck?
nearly as fun to interview PJ Fleck when Minnesota is better than Wisconsin.
That is true, I suppose.
So it's a little bit more difficult to poo-poo all of his rhetoric, even though I still love doing it. It's just a little bit more difficult when Wisconsin's not good because people just be like, well, yeah, you're just mad because you cover Wisconsin and they're not any good anymore. You're like, well,
No, I've been a hater long before that. It's just
I've been a hater back to the Western Michigan
a
days.
day one hater of
Yeah.
PJ Fleck.
Yes, and all the acronyms. You've never been to? I'm guessing you've never been to whatever they're calling Huntington Bank Stadium.
Formerly TCF. I
Yeah.
bank with Huntington a little bit. I have a loan.
Have
through
you
them.
been to the bank? Or I should say, have you been to the stadium?
I have not.
So like where you walk out, where the like Minnesota walks from their locker room down to the field, it's just oars everywhere, up on the walls. It's all the acronyms that he uses up on the walls. It is the most. Yeah, I see your face right now is doing something that I do every time I walk in there. It's like
insufferable.
Yes, very much so.
I saw a ranking. I can't remember which Twitter account had it of Big Ten campuses or Midwestern campuses, and the U was like 2. I'm like,
Have you been to?
I have.
No,
yeah,
I'm saying, have they been?
Yeah, I have been there. I know better. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Minneapolis is. I'm in a weird spot with Minneapolis because it's not my favorite city, but it's also not the city that most people describe it as.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, yes.
What
it's
some
been
people
talked
say,
about, yes.
Murder-apolis.
Yes.
Some people say,
Yeah.
unironically.
Nobody goes out at night. Well, I mean, there's a ton of things going on.
Plenty
at
of people. Minneapolis is, again, I'm caught in this awkward middle ground. It's not my favorite place, but it's also a lot. Like I like it a lot more than most do. So I'm caught in that.
I don't
awkward
hate
place.
I don't hate Minneapolis. Like of the big cities, I probably put Indy and then just in terms of like in the Midwest, Indy, then Minneapolis, and then way much further down to Chicago.
I'm a St. Paul man myself. I much prefer St. Paul. I would live in St. Paul. It's a delight.
there's still an opportunity for you.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd love to have me, Zach. Yeah, I'm sure they're banging down the door. Well, we will connect next week. Will there be any special presentations at camp? Where can we watch for Big Ten Media Days content?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing a couple episodes, post one Tuesday night, and then obviously posting one Wednesday as well. Just from the various interviews that we get. Jesse is not going, so it'll be a little bit of a solo venture for me, which I'm looking forward to. Yeah,
Nice.
so posting both wherever you get your podcasts and also up on YouTube. Get a little video component to the camp as well.
Zach Heilprin, follow the camp and his Twitter at Zach Heilprin as well. I appreciate your time, friend. This was a nice surprise. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
We'll be back in just a couple minutes. It's the Bill Michaels Show. It's the Bill Michaels Show. Welcome back. 2 more segments. I gotta put my hand up and I'll admit I was a little busy last night and this morning was a bit of a struggle. I'm just about ready to be done talking about this, but my foot is in a boot and I got crutches because I broke my foot in a couple places. Apparently, I gotta go back. Someone explained to me how you can't get a good X-ray if your foot is too swollen. I thought the X-rays go through the whatever. I didn't have time this morning, so either tomorrow or if you're interested on my program tonight, 4 to 6, which is on a lot of these same stations. I do want to break down some of the comments that Rob Manfred had on the broadcast last night, talked about specifically the Pittsburgh Pirates and the system and the way that this is set up between owners. And I just think if you read between the lines with some of Manfred's comments and some of the things that are clearly important to the league that already has the worst labor relations between players and owners, I just don't see that ending anytime soon. I don't think they're going to, come to blows and a stoppage or a lockout over a salary cap. That still seems like a pipe dream. But it's clear to me that there's some tensions or some disagreements on that. And I didn't cut the sound or have any of that ready for today's show. We had some great breakdowns in hour number 1 and 2 with Austin from his Cubs perspective. And then Chuck Freimund at 11:30. But we didn't get to the Manfred stuff. So I'm going to do that tonight, and maybe we'll roll it over to tomorrow. And maybe it'll become more of a talking point during the actual All-Star game broadcast tonight. Maybe Manfred does another appearance or something. I don't know. That's just something that's coming down the line. Another NFL extension that broke over the last break. The Jets and Sauce Gardner have reached an agreement on 4 years that ties him to the team for next 6 through 2030. It's the same structure and length as Garrett Wilson's deal, which he signed yesterday. Gardner's deal includes $60 million guaranteed. Now, I'm not going to hold up the Jets as this just bastion of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not accountability, not credibility, competence. That's the word I was looking for. I'm not going to tell you that the Jets do things the way the Jets are doing them. Everyone should emulate the Jets. I'm not saying that. I like when teams extend their players before training camp. I don't like when it runs into training camp. And look, again, if a team is really specifically unsure, I think there's plenty of players on the Packers who might be no doubt extension worthy next offseason, but right now I need to see more. I need more from Jaden Reed, need more from Romeo Dobbs. I need a bigger sample. I need more from a player, not necessarily like Tucker Kraft, but it's just not his time yet, right? There's players on this team that I haven't shut the door on extending. I just need to see a little bit more, right? So this year is a part of that. I don't need to see more from Zach Tom. I think this extension should be done before camp, before day 1, because then it's not a question at the podium. Then it's not a question to Zach Tom. Is he going to participate? Is he going to sit on the sideline while they're working on his new deal? Just don't let that become a thing. You have a little bit more than a week away from training camp, and you've had all summer. This is a player that the Packers should have been clear from the jump, like Zach Tom is our right tackle for at least one more contract. This should be close to done if it's not already. So it frustrates me. And then I look at, a team like the Jets. We're going to keep Sauce Gardner. We're going to keep Garrett Wilson, lock them both in, and we're going to hit the ground running with those two on new deals when training camp starts. No distractions, no monetary things, no off-the-field questions at pressers or, on podcasts or in stories or whatever. Like, I just think it makes a whole lot more sense to do it that way. A whole lot more sense to do it that way. So I hope that's what the Packers do. Elton Jenkins, I assume they're going to fix his contract. But if they want to play hardball, look, I guess they have the depth. I don't know who their next best center on the team would be. Maybe Jordan Morgan. I don't want to move Zach Tom there. I know it's been talked about. I don't want to move Zach Tom there. I think right now the easiest thing to do is probably extending Elton Jenkins the bare minimum amount that you can and get away with it. And then, in a year or two, start to look at different options. Jordan Morgan is looming. Anthony Belton is looming. You don't just draft guys in the first and second round necessarily to never play. I think, at least. Now, if they turn out to be busts, that's different. I don't know where we stand with Jordan Morgan. Training camp's going to tell a lot with him. He's actually maybe one of the players that I am most interested to see in camp. There's not a ton. There's not a ton of players I'm like, man, I'm really curious to see what they look like. Because I feel like we mostly understand this team. This is a team similar to the Packers in 2021 that we know they have a floor. And we know they're good. I'm not sure that they're great. And we're not going to be able to discern that in pads on a practice field against tackling dummies. in August. So a lot of training camp is just going to be holding our breath waiting for week 1. But there are certain individual players. Jordan Morgan is definitely one. I'm like, okay, what's the plan here? Like, can he play? And where is his eventual spot? Or is he going to be more of a swingman again this year? Right? I suppose that would be a good problem to have. Then I start to question the value of that pick just a little bit, especially relative to, other options. I haven't said Cooper DeJean. Some of you will. I haven't. Make it very clear. 608-321-1670. A couple of texts coming in here. Bobby in Menominee says, Jenkins was best the year that he was at center in 2021. From the 920, I thought Tom would play this on this contract this year, and Jenkins is probably not going to be on this team next year. He's the highest paid center in the league this year. Calm down. I'm not upset. Elton Jenkins in his camp is obviously upset. So something is going to have to be rectified there. I don't know what, but something is going to have to be. Let's see. Bobby and Mommy says, St. Paul is great. Minneapolis is fine, but St. Paul and Bloomington have everything you go to the Twin Cities for. I prefer St. Paul. But again, I'm stuck in a weird place with Minneapolis because people love to badmouth Minneapolis, and I don't think it's nearly this, crumbling city that people describe it as. It's not my favorite place. The U certainly isn't my favorite campus or my favorite kind of college area to be around. I like St. Paul a lot. Go down around the X, do a Wild game, or see a concert down there. That little area is really nice. It's also just a little bit more low-key. Not too low-key, but a little bit more low-key. We can take one final break. We'll come back and start to put the finishing touches on the Bill Michaels Show. One more day down without Bill, so we're one day closer to him returning next Monday, which I know makes you very happy. We'll have a couple of minutes on the other side. More from you at 608-321-1670. Final segment of the Bill Michaels Show. Appreciate you listening today. Pick this up tomorrow. React to the All-Star game. Hopefully Miz doesn't get shelled, because if he does, that will be the topic tomorrow. And again, I was telling Austin in the first 2 hours, there will be a storyline that comes out of tonight's All-Star game. Doesn't mean it will be a good one. It might be forced, and it might be unfair, and it might be kind of wild. But something's got to lead the ticker at ESPN and on Cowherd's show tomorrow. And if Mizorowski gets lit up, then the topic tomorrow is, well, has the MLB All-Star game jumped the shark? Kid with 5 career starts gets the nod to appear, and then all of a sudden he's clearly not up to snuff. So I hope that that's not it, because that'll make the headlines tomorrow. That will be the headline, unless he's got some racist tweets, then that would probably overtake his performance. But I actually did a deep dive into his account. It's pretty wholesome. So don't worry. I'm looking out for Miz. Caleb Walker, Rashid Walker on Good Morning Football this morning, talking about how he's remembering that loss to the Bears at home. And sorry if you're on the live stream, you won't hear this, but for our radio audience, here's Caleb Williams with Kyle Brandt. Caleb Williams. He's talking about Caleb Williams. It's Rashid Walker.
At the end of last season, the Bears won in Lambeau. And I don't know if it's gotten back to you, but Caleb Williams, their young quarterback, has said a few times this offseason that he is undefeated in Lambeau Field, and he's pretty pleased with that. What's it like to hear that, and what do you guys do about it?
Hey, man, he got lucky. But
what do you mean?
He got lucky.
I don't even care what the rest of it says. You know what I'm still pissed off about? I've had a texter or two tell me on the text line when we're talking about extensions or, what the Brewers should do. They're like, oh, Grant, calm down. You know what I will not calm down about? Why did Matt LaFleur call that timeout? Why did he call that timeout in Week 18? When they had the ball and they were driving down, what possessed that pinhole little brain of his in that moment, at least? In that moment, he had a pinhole brain. What possessed his brain to go, you know what, I need to call a timeout? He gave the Bears a chance to win, and they did. Like, I still don't understand. I'm not out on Matt LaFleur because of that, but that was such awful situational coaching and such terrible situational awareness. It's like, Matt, how am I supposed to take that moving forward? Like, how am I supposed to go about the rest of my life thinking, yeah, Matt LaFleur, the Packers, they could win a Super Bowl with this coach. He's great. When you straight up just out of nowhere are like, I would like to save the Bears 60 seconds. I will take a timeout here, please. Thank you. Like, what a bozo. Again, in that moment, I don't think Matt LaFleur is a bozo, but plenty of smart coaches have become bozos in big spots, right? That's how we judge coaches. Not how in the easy moments or in the simple moments. It's in the 2 or 3 complicated, difficult moments every year where you got to situationally make something happen. This is what Andy Reid was rolled over the coals with for years, because Andy Reid couldn't manage the clock and he wasn't good situationally. Well, it turns out then he gets one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time in Patrick Mahomes, and that goes away a little bit because that guy can manage it. Just like Brady and Josh McDaniels would run the offense, and Brady would really keep that thing going in the closing minutes. Belichick never had to do that. So I don't understand why Matt LaFleur had to call that timeout. What a bozo. And if that's not the dumbest moment of his coaching career from here on out, then I do have an issue with Matt LaFleur, because I'm genuinely confused as to what he was thinking of in that moment. So much so I'm going to tweet it. Why did LaFleur call that timeout, man? It still sticks. That sticks in my craw more than some playoff losses have. Just because that was such a stupid decision. Sometimes you try to make a play and it doesn't happen. And then there's games like that where it's like you just, for whatever reason, felt compelled to call timeout. I think the Bears and the Packers deserved to split last year. It's just the results were flipped. The Bears deserved to win at home. The Packers win at home, but they were playing a bunch of backups, and then Matt LaFleur forgot how to call a game and manage timeouts at the end. We'll be back tomorrow to react to the All-Star game and really start to dig into what the second half looks like of the baseball season. Maybe some Packers extension talk, too, on the heels of Sauce Gardner and Trey Smith and Garrett Wilson, and now Terry McLaurin's unhappy. So we'll do that, and we'll dig into Manfred a little bit tomorrow as well. I think there's things that are worth discussing there. Until we talk again 20 hours from now, time for us to go. Have a good one. See ya.